Digestives.
Hello, and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday, the 27th of March, 2011. This is our 1 year anniversary podcast, in fact. Joining me today, Robert Kemp.
Grunt.
And Zachary Burgess.
Blue again, probably.
I'm leaning forward.
Yes, you were. Quite a lot.
Never mind, that was just for the intro. We need to hear that loud and
Look
clear.
how ridiculously large the spikes there are on the graph compared to what we're talking now.
I don't know, now
It'll just make the intro seem more poignant.
Poignant.
It'll register.
You're always using that word in a weird way.
Yeah, because like loud things are poignant.
Loud things are very poignant. Loud things are memorable. As are poignant
That's more
things.
likely.
Poignant has some kind of emotional tinge to it, doesn't it? Like if something's poignant, it's like...
Hey, it's a celebration. It's poignant.
That is true. Is it? I don't know. Is that true? I'm not even sure.
I don't know if we're poignant at the moment.
Can you describe someone as just generally being poignant?
Probably.
Is a poignant person? Someone who's...
Being poignant.
Yes, oft poignant, I suppose. Oft... No.
Enigmatic.
Indeed. That is a description that you could attach to a person. Unlike poignant.
I don't know, I still think poignant could work.
What, for a person?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. But this certainly is a poignant podcast because it is a year since we started doing this stuff. Amazing that we've kept it up this long, really.
You can't say it's poignant at the time. It's like, poignant is like, you're looking back at something and you're like, if we were listening to our first podcast right now, we'd be like, that's quite poignant. I don't think we can be poignant in the present.
I don't think any of us have this definition correct in our heads. I think we may have to look up the definition of poignant.
Continue doing the intro.
Okay.
So talk amongst yourselves.
So, we haven't got anything to talk about apart from the definition of poignant.
How do you spell poignant?
I think you were spelling it right there with a G in there. I think that is right.
Poignant.
No, I think it's E rather than A. I think.
It's right
No,
there.
you're right. You got it totally right. Evoking a keen sense of sadness or regret.
Oh, okay, so apparently we totally don't know.
No,
what poignant
it's
is.
that too. Keenly felt. That's the one. It doesn't have to be
Keenly
sadness, I don't think. The sensation was most poignant in winter, is the
Right.
quote
Should we
there.
just say this is a good one? It's like, well, we hope so. I'm using
That's
my-
also another thing we can't say in the present.
I'm using my
This is a
foresight.
damn good podcast. See you in 2 hours.
Evoking a keen sense of sadness or regret. You could apply that to a person. Someone who evokes a keen sense of sadness.
Yeah, a manic
Yeah,
depression.
but that's
one
not
of those.
the same as saying he is poignant.
Is
You're
it-
saying your emotion towards him is poignant.
Yeah, I suppose you can have contagious depression. You know, you're around someone and it lowers the whole mood. And
I don't
then-
think that makes him poignant. I think that's just making
It makes you depressing.
Makes the depressing.
Well, no, it makes
yeah.
you. It makes you filled with. Oh, it does
Filled with poignancy.
is the effect of hanging around with such a person that gives you a sense of sadness and regret for hanging around with that person a poignant moment?
See, that's the closest you're getting to the actual meaning of poignant there, I think. There are definitely poignant moments in computer games.
Welcome
that's
to the
for sure.
Grammar Cast.
Wouldn't you
Welcome,
say?
we don't know what the fuck these words are for podcast.
So what are your top poignant moments in gaming? Think of one.
Yeah, what was your? You know, we did the award for this year for
Most
best
memorable
moment.
moment.
Yeah, so
Poignant moment.
Okay, let's expand this out for our 1 year anniversary. Let's
We'll do a
should we do a
mid-year game
best?
of the year.
Should we just do a best of the best reflection? Seeing as reflection.
I don't know what a poignant... I mean, obviously, the end of Red Dead is pretty poignant, I would say, scene.
Not got there yet.
No, but you'll find out.
I was about to say the boredom that I experienced in Mexico is kind of poignant.
No,
What, because it makes
then
you sad?
again, I'm not so sure. Any ideas, Zach?
Well, you know, it's like playing most GTA games for me. It's not quite reached that level yet, but there's a moment of sadness and regret when you realise you've spent so much time and got to a shit bit.
And yet you're still playing Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that has been... That's
Has that been poignant?
No, it's been far from it. It's just got a bit down. There you go, that's what we've been playing this week, so moving on.
Yeah, that's it. That's all. Thank you for joining us. Yeah.
We don't have an end theme.
We don't, no.
You'll have to
Maybe-
make one. Oh shit.
No, Giant Bomb just plays the same thing over again. Perhaps we should
Yeah, it
do
does.
that.
No,
It doesn't work for our one.
No,
because
I
our one
can-
has a proper tail off it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it does.
I can use last season's intro.
Just
for-
reverse it.
Yeah, so,
What?
so since this is a year, are we starting a new brackets season
Yeah.
podcast?
Yeah, it is.
It's not going
Excellent.
to change anything at all.
Welcome to
No.
season 2. No, let's introduce all new features, which we shall now concoct.
Here us go.
What can we add to our show to make it more awesome? This is filling time nicely, I think.
What would make this game stupid feature? No, wait, I got a great one.
Oh, Brill, here we go.
Well, no, actually, I'm not sure I do.
Yeah. Once again, you've preempted
My
by
power
going
of
great.
foresighted with me again.
This is where me and Zach
What
can
about-
shoot you down.
Game mashups. Like, you take two completely unrelated games and try and mix them together to come up with something better. What would work?
This is going to be one of those things where we think it's awesome and then we can't come up with anything.
I don't know. Well,
Go.
How
Pick
about
the two games.
Mario Party and Gears of War?
Okay.
So,
Gears of Party.
Gears of Party.
That would be awesome.
Well,
Sounds like a rave or something.
Gears of Party.
Cole is sort of home on the rails,
Oh yeah.
rolling for initiative.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of train-based mini games involving. Well, yeah, it'd be like instead of stomping on Goombas, you're chainsawing them or in half, but in
Yeah, that'd
in
be
a
great.
comedic, light-hearted way.
It's
So-
like instead of mashing the button to do something Mario, it's mash the button to chainsaw guys really quickly.
And there'll be an annoying Toad-like voiceover that goes chainsaw. No, maybe not. That one's a bad one. Spur of the moment thing.
Well, that was.
I don't know,
what
that's
was
the best one I can
predicted
think of, yeah.
Or what if you combined? Well, something combined with Sonic has to happen. You can combine Sonic with anything.
But with Sonic, that's the thing that will change the dynamic of that game.
An on-rail shooter with Sonic as Super Sonic.
That doesn't
The
sound
whole
like that.
game.
That sounds quite similar to Sonic Adventure in some
But actually,
ways.
no, yeah.
Well, that sounds like an end boss.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what they always are. But without the shooting, it's more like run into things.
Mash enemy with face now.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't work so good. Super Sonic's got a bit shit, hasn't he? Really.
When was the last game with a good Supersonic section in them?
Because they didn't bother doing it at all in Sonic Colors. You don't really become Super Sonic. You,
You
just
don't get
become
the Chaos Emeralds, do you?
No, you only get the Wisps. So you become Super Wisp.
Has there been a 3D
The Wisp
Supersonic?
Sonic.
A what?
A 3D.
Super Sonic. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 finished with Super Sonic
Oh,
sections.
did they? Oh, sorry.
I think
Didn't get
Sonic
that far.
Unleashed finished with a Super Sonic section as well.
Did it?
Hmm.
You were like a giant robot for a while.
Or were you fighting a giant robot?
No, you were a giant, like, ruined robot, and you were fighting like a giant lava monster
Thing.
robot.
Oh yeah, purple Dark Gaia thing.
Yeah, you were like a giant ruined robot because the little tiny
Yeah.
sidekick guy was like, "I've got this, man, robot." It was like, what?
Oh yeah, I remember. I think there might have been some Super Sonic in that.
Well, there should have been.
Yeah.
Weren't you like, because you had to like run up the robot's arms and shit. Because it was like you
Yeah.
would grab him and then be like, "Oh no, I can't force him away! Run up his arm and punch him in the face with your
Yeah.
tiny Sonic."
But yeah, that happened.
You think Super Sonic on a Wii game would be logical because you could use motion control to fly around
And point and shoot stuff.
and like, hold it pointing forwards and go wee.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Because that's how they worked on the GameCube one. Apart from it was terrible because you'd go forward and then you had a button to go up and a button to go down, which made it really difficult to actually aim.
Oh, that sounds confusing. So Supersonic can straight up fly, can he?
Yeah. Well, in
Apparently,
space. Has he actually ever... Although I guess in Sonic Adventure 1 he was in an atmosphere on the planet, but he was just running around on the water.
He sort of flies in Sonic Rush, doesn't he? In the end boss sequence.
But that's sort of in space as well.
Like in the center of the Earth, with lava everywhere.
I don't really remember. I thought the end of Sonic Rush it was like
Oh, that
in
might be-
between the two worlds or something. It was like in a subspace.
Oh, maybe. Well, I might have been thinking of Rush Adventure actually.
I didn't get to that, or did I? Because
Did you not finish Rush Adventure? You must have done.
No, I think I did. Yeah. And I never went back and did all... I got stuck on redoing the second to last boss of the challenges.
But anyway, so I suppose the whole concept of Super Sonic was always a bit flawed. And like, not actually the concept of Supersonic in terms of a story driving device, because it was actually kind of cool in the comics. Because it was like, oh, I'm dying. Oh, mysterious power all of a sudden.
And, that was a bit of a cheap out though.
Yeah, but in the games it was a bit cheap because once you'd like got all the emeralds, you could just go, "Yep, now this level, now I'm invulnerable."
Yeah, but that was just a bad decision to make you be able to do it at any time. It's like if it was just the thing in the last boss, it'd be fine.
And they brought that back in Sonic 4. Once you've got all the emeralds, you can just go like, "Oh, I've got 50
It totally doesn't
Supersonic!"
make any sense for an episode 1. But it's like because
Does that mean in Sonic 4 Episode 2 you're just going to be Super Sonic?
yeah, from the start you can just do it straight away because you've already got all the emeralds in episode 1.
And then they kind of made it a bit pointless in the Sonic Adventure series as well, because you could just sort of hold on to a Chaos Emerald and teleport.
Yeah, well, that was like that's different though.
Chaos Control!
That was a convenient special ability that no one knew.
And you always had to grimace while saying it.
It's like, oh, Shadow could do this. Well, I could probably do this as well then.
You know, I'm like totally a hedgehog man. That was a lab experiment as well. You know, this will work naturally.
So how did it work in classic Sonic? You kind of hovered, didn't you? And you're invincible, and you went very fast. Is that right?
No,
You were yellow.
you were just normal
Well, you do
Sonic,
kind
but
of
you
hover.
move hella fast.
Oh, no, wait, in 3 you hover, I guess.
Well, what I mean is, he doesn't have a running animation. He just sort of his
floats.
trainers go backwards and he floats. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's what I mean by hovering.
yeah. You don't
He
like
doesn't
suddenly,
actually
you don't
fly to-
suddenly get Tails control in Super Speed.
No, not like that.
Unless you're Tails.
Did you get Super
Super
Tails?
Tails.
You only get Hyper Tails if you have the Hyper Emeralds in Sonic 3 Knuckles.
Okay. Never did that.
Which is
That was an
ridiculous.
even ridiculous thing. Yeah, hyper.
Because you don't get
Stuff.
Super... It's like, you don't get Super Tails. You only get Hyper Tails. And you get, like, little birds that fly around you. And
Yeah,
kill
because you got
enemies.
Hyper Knuckles as well. I remember Hyper Knuckles.
Yeah.
What's he like?
Pink.
What? He wouldn't like that, would he?
You'd go, oh, what the shit?
It's like Super Shadow is white.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. Yeah, you're just sort of like, yeah, Sonic gets off easy on the super colour schemes, to be fair. And it's like, yeah,
Blue to yellow.
Knuckles will just sort of go, oh, come on.
Well, technically...
This is so manly
Well,
right
if you're
now.
going like blue to yellow for Super Sonic, Knuckles technically in Super Knuckles should be green.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's Tails then?
He's just sort of yellow again.
He's yeah, sort of
Oh,
just,
right, okay.
just
Yellow
brighter
highlights.
orange.
Right, yeah.
He's,
Neon orange, rather
yeah.
than sort of ordinary Fox style orange.
Yeah. It's like, it's a bit of a shame, because Knuckles is kind of the manliest character, isn't he? With his, you know, he actually punches shit.
Well, sort of. Apart from...
Manliest in the
punches
sense that he's, you know, kind of testosterone filled, unlike Robotnik, who is actually a man.
Yes, that's true. No, he did punch things in Adventure, didn't he? In those running around
Sort of.
maps.
Well, Knuckles did.
Although
That's what I
most of
mean,
the time it
Knuckles,
was so
yeah.
difficult to actually get punches to connect and shit. You're better off doing dives.
Yeah, and just drilling into shit.
Yep. All the time.
Knuckles drill. Okay, well, that was pretty good for a random Sonic aside. Yeah, there we go. Killing time. This is good. Party!
What the hell?
Party!
Oh, are
So
we partying for our anniversary?
So could you actually, right, this is very conceptual, right? If well, maybe this is the thing, maybe video game rivals should come together more often. I mean, because Mario and Sonic kind of made up in a sporting context.
Really stupidly.
What if they, yeah, that was a bit shit, I'll be honest. And in Smash Bros. Sports, they came together in a less than friendly context. Maybe there's like...
Apart from that, didn't even really happen. It was like, you get to the last boss, and then suddenly Sonic turns up. It's like, hey! And then that's it.
Well, in Smash Bros.
Okay, yeah, they're just
But
like...
you can play as him, right?
Yeah.
Well,
The
that
last
counts.
boss, yeah, pretty much. Because as you're going through that storyline, you're unlocking more of the characters. But then you don't see Sonic until that last possible moment.
And he's just like, yo...
It's just like, hi. And then you're done.
Yeah, so maybe... do you think it would be possible to actually make like a traditional platforming game with both of them?
I think it'd be rubbish. I'm sorry, but I can't imagine that working at all.
Marionic.
Scenario.
Peach is in another warp zone.
Wait, Warp Zone?
Wait, no, that's Mario Kart.
Supersonic world.
Your princess is in another robot. It's in
Princess
another
is
horrible
another
contraption.
weird giant glowing ring.
Except Sonic was never about the pictures, was it?
Well, Arguably, yes.
Well, that's the only game where there was sort of like...
You know, in the game universe, but in the comic and cartoon universe, he was quite about the bitches.
Well, I'm disregarding Sonic 06 from that as well.
Oh yeah, of course. Because that one was really about the
because of the bestiality story. That's just brilliant.
What?
No
Oh,
idea
of
what
course,
was going on
'cause
there.
they're like human but not human. Are they? Like Sonic is like
Except
treated
they-
like a person,
You don't even know what...
even though he's clearly a hedgehog.
It's like
Yeah.
you don't even know what world that is, of course, naturally. It's clearly not Mobius. But
And
then
it's-
neither is Station Square or whatever.
Well, no,
that place
it's
is.
made up Earthland.
Yeah, except apart from clearly in Sonic 2006, that's not the same place as...
Sonic
Because
Adventure.
they've got like magic and shit. Rather than the technology of like Station Square or whatever.
Do they could have just been really good pyrotechnics
I don't know.
for like their ceremony.
I was thinking magic. There's a lot of... Isn't there some like glowing levitation and shit going on at some point? I guess they do have a lab with giant mercury floating balls.
Well, that is true. But that could have been one of Robotnik's things.
Apart from it was in the past.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
Oh no, that was when Silver was made, wasn't it, or something?
But Silver doesn't come from that world either, does he? Because
Who cares?
But
It was
Blaze-
a shit game.
but Blaze comes from the Rush universe world, whatever world that is.
That's a parallel dimension.
Oh my
But
god!
then Cream lives in there as well. It's like, what? Because Cream and her mother live in that world. Oh no, wait, that's Sonic World again though. Because
Wow.
Blaze comes to Sonic's world in Sonic Rush,
Is
and
this
then
his point-
Sonic goes to Blaze World in Rush 2.
Is this as pointless as trying to figure out what goes on in like Zelda games?
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. This is
Except
pretty
more
in depth.
entertaining, because Zelda is like...
Well, Zelda, yeah, the hard cuts are supposed to be separate, but Sonic, you never quite.
And in
understand
Zelda,
the
it's
story.
like, you're working out, it's like always the same characters, whereas in Sonic it's like weird universe crossovers where different weird characters appear.
Well, no,
like the
maybe-
Chaotix guys or whatever.
Well, maybe it could. I don't know. I still wonder if the Sonic and Mario mix could work because you could use Sonic style stages, but in Mario themed worlds, say,
Yeah, but
and
Sonic
with
with,
like
shit.
like power ups of some kind. Sonic with more power ups. That can't be a bad thing.
He doesn't need power up.
Make a Sonic game with more power-ups.
Sonic with a
Don't
fire
put it in a-
flower that, like,
That's
bring-
just
that's
like a fire
it's
shield.
like the fire shield from Sonic. But yeah, but that was cool, and they haven't done it again.
That's true.
Just do it again,
they
then.
need to do what Mario did and start bringing back random power ups all the time, like they tried to do for Galaxy 2. Where it's like, now you can have a fire flower, except that's really fucking difficult to aim in 3D.
Sonic in a giant boot attempting to run fast.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Well, they're clearly bringing back the sort of tail thing, aren't they, for the new Mario for 3DS?
Oh
Because it's part of the logo.
Wait, what? New Mario?
They're making.
course
It's the
there's gonna be
Mario
Mario.
Galaxy team are making a proper, real new Mario, not a port for the 3DS. Which is when was the last new Mario game for? I suppose if you
New
don't
Super Mario
New
Brothers
Super Mario
Wii,
Brothers. Yeah, well, for a portable system,
New Super Mario.
New
Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers. But does that really count? I suppose it does.
Probably.
Yeah, I'd imagine it does. It was
Yeah,
pretty.
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty traditional and just with a new graphical style.
It was another one of those classic things where they made up a power up that had almost no point.
What, the giant power?
Yeah, where it's like,
Stop
this just
the
lets
level.
you walk through a bit of level, but apart from it's a bit of level that's basically specially designed only for the use of that power up.
Yeah. You'd only. That bit of level isn't particularly interesting, so we decided to let you stomp through it.
Well, it's not like they made that level first and they were like, man, this bit of level is shit, we better put a power up in at the start. It's like they made that bit of level specifically for the power up,
The Jumbo Shroom.
just because they want to show off.
Although the Jumbo Shroom does look cool. It's a bit like a Rastafarian with his giant hat,
Yes.
It's totally sweet.
So presumably this new Mario game, it's not labelled New Super Mario Brothers 3DS or anything. So presumably it's not in that 2D...
More new Super Mario Bros. 3DS
Yeah.
Deluxe Anniversary Edition.
Exactly. And kept for the same price for the next 5 years.
£30 until you die.
Yeah. But presumably it'll be fully 3D and of course stereoscopic 3D.
Yeah, does that mean that it's not going to be...
fully 3D.
That's what I'm wondering. Maybe they will make it like New Super Mario Brothers style 2D.
Or if
but
they've
with
only
the
just
stereoscopic
announced it
3D.
and they want to get it out as soon as possible for the 3DS launch, it's got to be 2D.
Do you think?
Yeah. I bet it will have, like,
Well, 3DS is
Awesome.
out.
Yeah, it's too
Yeah,
late
that's
for
why
the
they
launch.
missed the launch.
And
But
they've got
they're
Kid
always
Icarus.
talking about launch month or whatever.
Are you two going to get a 3DS?
Maybe.
Not until the first hardware revision. And that
Not
might be
until
a
I'm finished
year
with
or so.
Pokemon.
I reckon.
Because as I mentioned to Dan, I think, I realised after I'd slightly broken my DS, like the hinge is broken, so just to disclose what the way breaking is.
Yeah.
It's like the hinge is broken, so it still works fine. It's just a bit dodgy, and you can't. I have to not mash it around so much in my bag or whatever.
I reckon you should get a light on trading because they're probably well cheap.
Yeah, but no, I don't think you can trade in a broken DS for anything.
No, I mean someone will have traded in a light for a 3DS, and they'll probably sell them for like. I don't know.
Yeah,
What I actually need to do is give
get-
my mum my broken DS, take her light, and then trade that in for a 3DS.
Yeah.
That's hers, though. Isn't
But
it?
anyway, as I was saying,
Yoink.
the reason why I don't need to get a 3DS until I finish Pokemon is that I've forgotten about Nintendo's ridiculous online system where it locks the game to the cartridge. I mean, the cartridge to the system, basically.
Does it?
Pretty much. It registers
Pokemon does.
the game and the system as a pair, basically.
Oh shit, that
That
sucks.
sucks, yeah.
And then I realised, I started it, then my DS hinge broke, and I was like, oh fuck, now I have to carry on playing on this broken DS.
That really doesn't make sense in cartridge world, does it? Because your saves are on the cartridge, your things are on the thing. It's not like you need to, like with disc-based media, the potential to attach it to an account, or like with games for Windows or Steam, where you attach.
I think it's just
games to
because
an
the
account.
friends
It's not
code
needed.
is linked to the system.
Right.
And then the game picks the friends code out of the system, but you can store, because you can trade the friend codes in the game.
So if you used the cartridge on another system, would it give you a different friend code, or would it just not work?
I have no idea. I might actually try that, just shove it into my mum's DS and see what it says.
Yeah, it's still... Why
The
can't
friend
they-
code
why-
system is shit,
Yeah,
as we well know.
it's rubbish.
Why won't Ninty fix that? Because they got it wrong on the DS, and then thought, I know, let's just keep it for the Wii. And now it sounds like, we'll just, this seems to work, sort of.
But they're doing something slightly different.
What is it
from
they've
3DS, aren't
changed?
they?
Something. They made it slightly better. I
Yeah,
can't remember what
slightly
it
better.
is.
Do you have a friends list now?
That's
global?
right. Something like that. Anyway, we don't know.
You still
But
have to code it. It's still shit.
Oh yeah, I think that is it. It's like it's more like an Xbox Live friends list or whatever, but it is still a code you have to
it's
put
still
in
a
at some
code.
point.
It's not just a name.
I have to say, I'm very confused by Nintendo at the moment. It sort of twists me up inside slightly, like a bad case of irritable bowel syndrome. It's
Lovely.
That was totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
But not that I suffer from it. I apologies to those that do. It's not good.
Serious mode.
Yeah. I honestly can't say I am in good favour with Nintendo at the moment. I think they failed me with the Wii and the way they went with the DS. I mean, if you guys used a DSi...
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, you actually have a Wii and you use your DS.
I don't use my DS.
I'm like completely. I haven't played Nintendo games since GameCube, pretty much.
You're better off for it, if I'm honest. I don't know.
I wanted to play Super Mario Galaxy, and I'm sad I haven't got the opportunity. But other than that, I'm not worried.
There's been the odd game. I mean, like the third party stuff is occasionally still genius, but I'm pretty disappointed with Ninty's first party offerings in the sense that they've gone down. They're not bringing back enough of the classics. Because that's kind
Because
of
that's all Nintendo does.
yeah. But there's logic to that. They bring back the classics because they're still great.
When they
Well.
succeed in remaking them and they
there's-
constantly screw them up somehow.
well, exactly. Apart from that, they still look back. Mario Kart is still genius. It's
Yeah, but that's because that's not really. There's no innovation to be done there. It's like it's a car racing game.
yeah, but it's still the best. Somehow, it's still the best, with the exception of Blur, which isn't really a kart racing game but follows the same
Apart
rules.
from it is basically.
Yeah, but it's
It's just a kart racing game with the graphics of
I
cars.
don't imagine many kids sitting down for a nice, quiet game of Blur.
I don't see why they wouldn't. It's not like it's hardcore or anything.
Pretty hardcore.
Hardcore wants to get, it's the same. It's like a Burnout style thing. It's like at the start, it's just like driving around.
Anyway, this wasn't the point I was trying to make.
No.
Well, I think there's room for Nintendo. I mean, now that they've made so much money and they have a pile of cash or whatever, I think there's room for them to take a risk on a...
Haven't they always had a pile of cash?
Yeah.
That's what we've been
No,
saying
not
about them
always.
forever.
They weren't that successful in
Wasn't
the
it just-
64 days. Compared to Sony, they were really struggling, I think.
Let's just look at the
Time.
Wii lineup. The Wii lineup, after 4 years, what have they brought back? They've brought back Mario. Okay, yeah, that's a given. They've brought back
Yeah, although
Smash
they
Brothers.
outsourced it to an extent.
Yeah, they brought back Smash
Second
Brothers.
party or whatever.
That's a given.
Once.
And Zelda that one time right at the
Which
start.
was a
of this.
GameCube game.
Yeah, let's be honest, it was a GameCube game. It was great. I'm not saying that, but it was a GameCube game on launch. What have they been doing for the last 3 years? It's like
They've been making money, and they've been making
Doing nothing.
Wii Sports Resort. That's what they've been doing.
It's shit. It's seriously bad. I mean, most of the games I've played on Wii since launch have been third-party titles.
Well, it's not a console for you. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's a console for casual people.
But it could be, because Ninty is sitting on these great IPs that they just don't use
But
anymore.
it couldn't be because it's not because it's still basically a GameCube hardware.
Well, no. The reason is it's not because Ninty couldn't do it. It's that they won't do it anymore because of their slant has gone from far to, it always used to have the cutesy image, but the games they pushed out could still be appreciated by the hardcore. Now they've gone far too far in the direction where the games they put out can't be appreciated by the hardcore in the majority of the cases.
They're not cutesy either, they're just like bland.
So they've essentially, they're starting to, it feels like they're leaving the fan base for a new marketplace, which might be work. I'm not denying it probably works for them financially, but it sucks to be one of us.
Sucks for us, yeah.
Yeah.
And it sucks for even like I was telling you about my cousins. One of them's 14 and 12 or whatever. And they've got an N64 because they got it. Their mum got it off eBay rather than the latest Wii or whatever. But it's better for their, because they can play Smash Brothers and stuff. Woo. I suppose you can play that on the Wii. That's a bad example, isn't it? But all those classic games and
all those classic games. Like,
Banjo-Kazooie, man.
All they're talking about that's new that they're excited about on DS. Nothing on Wii. They're excited about Pokemon Black and White or whatever. But that's like, or
did they play the other ones, or is that actually working in terms of advertising?
Well, think about.
I think it is working for them. I think they might have played Diamond or whatever, but they definitely don't go all the way back to Red and Blue.
Well, no, obviously.
Well, even looking at the DS, what have we actually played that's first party that, with the possible exception of Pokemon, that's actually moved away from that's actually Nintendo's fan base happy making sentence. Yeah. I'm struggling to think of something because there's been some great third-party stuff. Don't get me wrong, Scribblenauts looked awesome. Cutesy, maybe,
cool.
but a brilliant concept, well suited to the platform.
And all the games that came out right at the start, obviously.
Yeah, all of the original launch
Advanced
titles because Ninty had to kind of push the hardware as well, so they had some good stuff then.
Yeah. Zelda's done okay.
Golden
on the
Sun,
DS,
maybe. Well, yeah, the Zelda Spirit Tracks was probably the latest thing
Spirit
Ninty
Tracks.
did that was kind of, that fans could probably sink their teeth into.
Yeah, that's probably quite good.
But again, it tailed off and it sucks. And I'd imagine most of the hardcore play third-party titles again, and it's just weird. I don't know. I don't like it, and I'm worried that with 3DS it's going to be the same. There'll be a sudden rush of. They're not really tackling the classics at the moment on 3DS, with the exception of Mario. They're tackling.
Well, they've got Kid Icarus.
Yeah, but that's a reinvention of an old IP.
Is,
There's
yeah.
nothing like what it used to be.
That's true.
Because it couldn't be anything like what it used to be because it's that old.
I think Steel Diver looks kind of interesting, but it's not exactly an IP of weight, is it?
I have to say, the single most interesting thing about the 3DS is the reinvention of Pilot Wings, even though that's now been mead up.
Well, apparently, the problem with Pilot Wings on the 3DS is it's just quite a small game. There's not much content.
Well, it never was massive.
That's true on the SNES.
Yeah,
but you expect more now, don't you?
It's why they didn't upgrade the amount of content from the SNES.
Yeah.
Well, Link to the Past has a bit of content, hasn't it? If you compare to modern games.
Yes, but that's like...
That was the rarity back then, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That had like saves and the shit, man.
I know.
Didn't use a password or any of that crap.
Like proper memory storage.
But it seems to me like there's space for them to create a new IP that has... Well, I hesitate to say hardcore, because I was about to say that, okay, their classics are from the 80s, but then in the 90s they came up with Pokemon. And I hesitate to call that hardcore, but if you compare it to
90s?
Casual gaming, in 95 Pokemon, wasn't it?
Wow.
95 in Japan, 98 it came out here, but it was the same game, so we were kind of 3 years behind there. Anyway, but there's room for them to do that again, and I don't think they have, apart from, you can't really count Wii Sports as a massive content hardcore title, can you?
I can't say I've played that in probably 2 years now.
Yeah, exactly.
We've been tempted.
We've been tempted, yeah, but it's something we'd pick up once and then not touch for another 2 years.
Yeah. But that's literally the closest Nintendo have got lately to a tentpole franchise.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my collection over your shoulder. Most of the stuff I sunk my teeth into on Wii were launch titles. The recent exceptions being Mad World, which isn't exactly recent, Sonic Colors, which is amazing, don't get me wrong, but not Nintendo. And they're the two. Yeah, that was it. They're the only 2 games since launch I've really got interested in. Because I remember getting really into Zelda and really into Metroid Prime 3. Pretty much the extent of my Wii addictedness, because Excite Truck kept us amused for a few weeks.
Oh man, I didn't like that. You guys really liked
We
Excite Truck.
played that. We revisited that last week and played every track in one sitting.
Apart from it's like we were totally useless at it again. It's like, how were we ever awesome at this?
It took us a long while to get used to it, just to remember how to do the tricks and things. And it's like, we're just sat there swinging I'm doing an action on the radio, so that's not helping, but it's, we're rotating our arms back and forth going, how do we spin our trucks in the air? This isn't working. And all I'm doing here is making myself look even more foolish for no gaming gain.
But then it's like, even when we worked out how to do the spin and all that, it was like, I guess we didn't know the tracks any longer, which didn't help. So we didn't know, like, what jumps where to aim off the jumps and stuff. And it was like, I remember we used to be awesome at it, where it was like, every jump you'd get, like, maximum spins and shit, and just totally owned the crap out of everything. It was like, man, we used to be awesome. It's not that it isn't still hilarious even when you're shit, though. Because sometimes that can make it more hilarious.
That was part of the charm of the game, was just attempting stuff that was bound to fail.
Or just, you'd hit a ramp very, very slightly wrong, get chucked miles into the air in totally the wrong direction, and then just try and make the best of it. It's like, oh man, I'm going to land in all these trees. Well, let's see if I can weave my way out of here for a laugh.
Yeah, just get an epic flying tree run just by jiggling yourself in the air.
I always liked the pop-in on that game. That always made me laugh. How, like...
I don't think it's that bad. I didn't really notice it when we last played.
Well, it's not that things pop up. It's that when you're really high in the air and you look down and there's a bit of water, like, the edge where the water meets the land, if you're far away from it, it looks like a grid. Well, it looks like a really big grid.
But that's a classic problem with water reflections, isn't it? Because they have to design them with a limited
Is it
pattern.
Reflections?
Yeah, it can often.
Oh, right. Because it looks like...
Because they don't really have water textures in Excite Truck. They use like a pixel shader map, I guess. It's repeating.
Yeah.
It
looks very strange because it suddenly goes smooth when you come...
It's just that alias.
It gets more detailed when you get closer.
But aliasing is more with pixels. This is like literally blocks of... I don't know. It's not like pixels. It's like huge blocks on the landscape.
We probably can't deal with texture detail or texture sizes big enough to get rid of that impression. But it used to be. It's if you think the Wii is running on GameCube hardware, that used to be like a. It's a classic problem of all games at that time, really. Even Halo 2 suffered from repeating water look. And then a couple of stages where you look out and there's a nice sunset and a nice sea in front of it, which has got really, really, really regular waves.
Yeah, but I'm not meaning like the texture on the water.
But the reflection, that was a flat polygon with a pixel map.
Okay, fair enough.
Pixel shader or some sort of similar technique. I don't know. Blog. Details. You guys carry on for a bit. I've just realised I haven't been tagging this up.
I thought you were just going to leave that. Especially since we haven't actually talked about any game technically, even though we have.
Well, if you guys would tag up the last couple of episodes, then point at Zach.
Zach's never going to do it. He's too useless. One day, I'll get round to doing them soon. Anyway,
it's not the tagging; it's the time tagging. I was talking about tagging as in typing the names of the games down as we go.
I know, but...
So you can hear him typing.
What's the problem with doing time tagging?
Internal dispute over. So what did we talk about?
The Wii and how Nintendo failed us.
Yeah, and failed.
Type down every goddamn Sonic game. And
I want to say, have you guys used a DSi?
No.
Because...
I picked one up in a shop and I didn't like the feel of it. And I thought, well, it's not much different to the Lite.
No, I don't mind the form factor. My problem with it isn't there. It's the functionality they put on it and the design. Because they redid the for the DSi, they redid the OS that it runs on.
I always thought the DSOS original one was kind of cool.
So it was.
It doesn't do anything. Yeah, it doesn't do anything.
No, it did what it needed.
It's a bit like the GameCube OS. It didn't do anything, but it was kind of cool.
Yeah, it did. GameCubes. Sorry, I just misspelled GameCube as GameCubes. I don't know why I found that funny.
It did memory management, didn't it, on the GameCube? Wii is a bit more...
Oh God, I hate that. Why does Nintendo insist on everything having background music? It gets so frustrating.
And 3DS has got that as well.
Oh, you're fucking
It's got like new, like Wii style sort of cheesy music.
I totally don't want one.
But they were holding it up to the.
You're making me want one even less, despite the fact I saw one on a reasonably good deal in Morrison's for £187 right now. That's a pretty good deal, actually.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good, but there's no games. Well, what are you going to buy with it?
Just play old
Cats
games
and dogs.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, Nintendo
Is that
dogs.
Steel Diver thing a launch game? It must be.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think that looks sort of vaguely interesting.
I don't.
Face Ace.
Face Ace.
Face Raiders, you mean?
Yeah.
But that comes free with it.
It used to be called Face Ace.
Face rate. What?
You know,
It's
Face
a game
Raiders.
that Rob definitely wants because it's got the word face in
It's got the word face in it, and it's something about raiding my face.
Do you not know about Face
I
Raiders?
have no idea
think
what
we
it
might
is.
have talked about this before, haven't we? Anyway,
No.
it was originally a tech demo, and now it's like comes free with, I think, along with the AI, with the virtual reality cards, augmented reality cards, where you put it down on the table and then you point the 3DS camera at it, and they're like polygonal things appear off your table.
Oh, what, the AR stuff?
AR cards. Is
Yeah.
that, and then Face Raiders also comes free, and it's like you take 3D pictures of your friends' faces, and then it's augmented reality, so it has the room or whatever your environment behind as the backdrop, and then sort of polygonal blobs
Faces.
with your friends' faces on come towards you, and you have to shoot them, and it's motion control, so you have to move around, and it's 3D obviously, so it's just
Okay.
bonkers, and after a while it starts like morphing the faces in weird ways and stuff. I think
That's kind of cool, but it's basically a tech demo.
it's a tech demo, but it's way hilarious.
Rob needs it just for the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a pure face. Yeah. Anyway, the original point I was going to make about the DSi and the modified OS is it's both crap and completely aimed at children at the same time. It's like, you know how in the Wii they have those pages of channels?
Yeah.
Imagine instead of pages of channels, the page has just one channel on it.
Right. Per page.
Yeah, essentially, you can see like it takes up the amount of the screen, and there's the ability to scroll left and right across a list of stuff, which is customizable, and you add stuff because you can install games obviously to DSi thanks to DSiWare, and it has some programs built in because of the cameras and shit like that. So that bit is kind of weird decision because it means you have to browse through everything in an awkward manner.
Right.
But then when you actually use some of the stuff built in, for instance, it's got like these little animation tools and stuff in there, so so you can scribble out a frame and then move on to the next one, and Onion skins it so you can scribble out the
Like
next one.
Pixar only it's more actually for
It's
animation.
just for making animations, and you can send them to friends using shit codes, and then it's all that. But just the look of it all is so child orientated. Like the instructions are giant on the top screen. It's
Right.
like, do this to
Well,
do
lots
this.
of Nintendo, lots of DS stuff had like really fat text on the screen that you weren't using at the
I
time.
know, but it's just the whole look of those extra things they've added are just so for kids. There's no, and I'll be honest, they do interest the kids. I'll get that. They do use those features all the time. Probably I've seen my mates' kids use those features more than I've seen them playing games on the DSi.
Right.
If
Which-
Picture Chat had been more awesome, we probably would have used that more.
Well, PictoChat Hangman was always hilarious.
Yeah.
But
Or like Picture Chat Pictionary almost.
yeah, that was cheap. But then again, that was the best thing about brain training, wasn't it?
That's true.
Basically the
That wasn't
Pictionary
even
challenge.
a competition. That was just like, see who draws the worst.
Well, yeah, then you voted for which everyone drew a picture and you had to vote for who you thought was the best.
Right.
Which was quite funny. But yeah, and it's just, I don't know, it's just weird. Again, it's another indication that they're moving away from this idea that they make, they're moving away from the fact that they make games in a way. Every step they take at the moment seems to be, well, we don't particularly care about gaming anymore. We care about the like old people and kids just using the devices for stupid purposes. It's like, I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Maybe I'm not the demographic for it, but
Well, eventually they'll fit into some kind of groove where, because there'll be a point where they'll have to stop. Eventually they'll reach a point where they're appealing to the people that make them the most money, and that might not be us at all. But they can't go on forever because otherwise their market will shrink to 100-year-olds and 1-year-olds.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there'll be a point.
Well, they just need to hurry up and release the important games. That's the only thing that matters. New Advance Wars.
What, like Ridge Racer 3D?
That's not an important game at all.
No, it's not.
There's an ancient repetition.
Are you saying Advance Wars is even in development for 3DS?
No.
You have no idea.
No.
You have no idea if anything good.
But
I mean, I will probably like to play the Mario
But
game.
honestly,
I mean,
what
that
else
could
are
be good.
those guys who make Advance Wars going to do? Have they ever released another game?
Well, who makes Advance Wars? Is it Atlas?
Intelligent Systems.
No, you're right. Yeah.
So it's just like, what do? They make Advance Wars, or however make a new one.
I'm going to have to look that up, actually, because I want to know what they've been doing for the last few years, because,
Did
don't
they-
get me wrong, Advance Wars is great.
Did they even make
Yeah, it's
the
great.
GameCube spin-off ones? Whatever those were.
They might have done, yeah.
Yeah, they weren't so good though, were they?
No.
But, you know...
It's because they weren't really Advance Wars.
No,
they
that was wrong.
attempted to make them real time. Yeah. I forget what they were called, but...
Something.
Intelligent Systems.
Intelligent Systems. Click.
Here comes the wiki section.
Here comes Wikipedia. It's our regular feature.
Oh, didn't you have a load of corrections we needed to make?
No, I just had that one.
What was that?
Okay, well this is a really, really retarded correction.
Interruption. Correction column.
Correction column.
With Zachary Burgess.
This is the really retarded correction that is only relevant if you even slightly care about YouTube.
Yeah.
But when
Right.
me and Rob were talking in our Tardcast about YouTube poops and Ash's retarded adventure,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
the guy who made that has got his account deleted, so that no longer exists in its original form. There's just a bunch of shitty remakes and spin-offs of it.
Oh,
So you
that's
can
a
no
shame.
longer enjoy the hilarity that Rob enjoyed so much.
Oh, that's a shame.
The other YouTube poops are still available. Some of them are good.
This is why we haven't
My
heard.
other
This is why we
correction.
haven't heard from an Advance Wars game for a while. By the way, going back to the point,
Go on.
Yeah.
they've been working on the WarioWare variants for the last few years. So WarioWare Touched, WarioWare DIY, WarioWare Snapped are all by Intelligent
All right.
Systems.
And now look what they're making now.
And
I
then
thought I
now
recognised that.
they've made a Fire Emblem remake, but this actually is pretty interesting.
Yeah,
4th installment in the Paper Mario series.
for 3DS.
Fuck yeah!
Now that can you imagine Paper Mario in 3D? That would be pretty cool.
Well,
The bits of paper in front of
surely
each
that's
other.
a complete.
No, I don't know, because little
It's
bits of
just
paper.
it's
like that.
taking the Paper Mario concept even further. It's not
Away
just
from paper.
2D. It's not just 2D sprites in a 3D world. It's 2D sprites in an actually 3D
Actually
world.
3D. Yeah. And with the
That
flipping
boggles the
round
mind.
would look way cool when they
It
you know how they turn
Depends
around.
what direction they take it. If they take it in the way of Super Paper Mario, then the 3D sort of makes the 3D effect sort of makes sense because it's a big deal because you can switch between them.
Oh yeah.
But that was the shittest in the Paper Mario series,
It
so
was.
let's hope they don't do that.
Well, yeah, but that only failed because of. It didn't fail because of the concept. It failed because they didn't make any good levels for it.
And they didn't really make it.
They didn't make
an
the
RPG.
levels for the concept, basically.
and I can't really forgive the hamster wheel.
Yeah, but that's not even. Everyone goes on about that, but it's not actually
Yeah,
that
but
bad.
it wasn't terrible. It didn't last very long, but the game that was when I stopped playing soon after that because at that point I started to realise that most of what the game then asks you to do isn't because it's fun, but because its only purpose is to progress the story. And you know there are lots of mechanics that only existed because you had to use it at that particular section you were at, and they.
Yeah, the whole.
And it led to a load of text that you had to read, and it just happened
Oh
all the
no,
time.
text!
Yeah, but it just happened all the time. The gameplay only existed to give you more text. That's what, rather than the text existing to improve the gameplay. You know, it was the wrong way round.
But the levels just weren't like level enough. There was
Man,
there
for a first year anniversary, this is much of a celebration. This is a rant cast.
Yeah, that's what we do best.
who got things first?
So my other correction for last week, not that it is a correction, but I mentioned to you when you talk about Pokemon generations, you didn't talk about the remakes, and technically they don't count as separate generations. But it's worth mentioning that Fire Red and Leaf Green were in the 3rd generation,
Oh, are they?
and Soul Silver and Heart Gold are in the 4th generation. And so presumably this 5th generation will have remakes of Ruby and Sapphire.
Oh, what? So some of the remakes counted as gens?
No,
They don't count as gens. But
They
when you were
just lumped
saying,
in with the other.
because you were saying
Okay.
you were sure there were 7 generations, and it turned out, and when you counted them, there were 5. It's true, there are 5, but that's because
those 2 remakes
count
because they didn't push the tech past the generation they were in.
exactly.
Okay.
So they count as part of. So presumably, in this generation with Black and White, we will get remakes of Ruby and Sapphire.
Not that the phrase "pushing the tech" really sounds applicable to Pokemon.
To Pokemon.
Well, the world is more 3D now in the new Pokemon.
It's more 3D.
I may have mentioned this before, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
But there's it's no longer like the city is. You go to a city. Well, like the first bit where you find out about this, I guess, is like you come out of this regular sort of Pokemon forest. Naturally, there's always a forest quite near the start where you get some bugs. No Pikachu's though, or no.
Well, the electric mouse Pokemon.
No completely off-type thing that I found anyway. But so you go through this forest, and then you come out of the forest, and you go onto a bridge, and it's like, oh my god, pointless panning camera angles, and like you run up a spiral. Apart from it's one of those, it's pseudo 3D where it's still based on a grid. Like if you stop on the spiral, you can walk 3 squares across it, but as you run up it, it curls. So it's like it's a pseudo grid or whatever. So you run, and then you run across the bridge, and it's a really pointless section because you get on this bridge and you basically you just push forward for 2 minutes. Because there's no fights. It's just a pointless, look at how 3D as the camera pans around and looks at different views of this bridge while you keep running forwards.
It's like, holy shit, we've discovered this 20-year-old technology at last.
Yeah, and you walk onto the bridge and there's a random NPC woman just standing there and you talk to her and she's like, look at how the road curls here. I've never seen anything like it before. It's like, yep, that's true.
Yep, that's new for Pokemon. Because it's like,
we've only ever designed stuff in a grid before in this stupid world.
Because there was a bridge on the first Pokemon world, but it had fights on.
And it had right angle corners.
Yeah, and it had corners, which was a bit weird. But there's that kind of meme thing going on where they're like, how the hell did the SS Anne get to the ocean? Because it's trapped by this bridge. But of course...
It goes under the bridge.
Yeah, it goes under the bridge. The bridge doesn't look in the game like it's a massive suspension bridge big enough for a cruise ship to go underneath. It just looks like it's floating on the water, doesn't it?
But then again, the boat might be super flat for all you know.
Yeah.
It might just look like a giant cruise boat.
Maybe most of the boat is underwater.
Maybe it's a submarine.
I can't remember, but maybe the boat was sideways in the game, or isometric. I can't remember.
No,
remember
it was still top down.
Oh, it was. Okay. Anyway, so yes, apparently it goes under the bridge.
But yeah,
so that makes sense.
So it's now in black and white, you go across this bridge, it's like, dramatic camera angles, and then when you get to the town, it's like, oh look, the town has a curved front bit on the coast. It's like pseudo not grid, apart from it's still a grid.
Do you think it looks a little inconsistent with some of the game though in places?
Well, obviously it still looks pretty terrible for the sprites as they resize as they move into the distance or whatever. It's just like, oh man.
It's like when traditionally 2D games start to introduce 3D elements. They go through
Advance Wars.
They go through that transitional phase where it just looks a bit crap. Well, it was never really properly 3D. It was just mode 7.
Yeah, but that was the trouble. It was like they pointlessly made parts of it mode 7, and it's like it just looks shit.
I didn't really have a problem with that. I don't know. Just me. I didn't have an issue with that. I had an issue. Well, the example that comes to mind is in the first Phoenix Wright game on the DS. They extended it for the DS launch rather than the GBA version by adding an extra case on the end that had 3D elements and extra, use the DS a bit more. Except for the fact that 3D was terrible. Everything was incredibly low detail and blocky and stuff, and it just looked out of place from the rest of the hand-drawn anime game. It's just, I say hand-drawn, but the anime-styled game. It just looked a bit weird.
I'm sure if it ever turns out that way in Pokemon...
Don't get me wrong, that was the best bit in the game, and they did add to it, but it just looked crap.
It's like, if it turns out that way in Pokemon, I don't know, if you have, an actual fight in, a stadium or something, and the actual sprites exist in the 3D world as they're fighting, that probably will look pretty terrible. Because at the moment, as Rob pointed out in the Pokemon fights now, it's still, a little, circular patch of area that represents where your Pokemon stand, and then they come out and stand on the thing, and then the attacks just fly across this mysterious empty space. And in the background, it's just a colour wash.
Yeah.
There's no actual...
It's just a blue gradient, isn't it? Or...
Well, different colours, different places.
Oh, I see.
Different times of day.
Oh, wow, so they put some effort into the background.
Incredibly minimal. It's why don't they just do Golden Sun did?
Just have
It's a painted background, but it rotates with the Mode 7. That's totally awesome.
That would be one hell of a step up, to be honest, for Pokemon. But Pokemon, if they went for this 3D environment anyway, it wouldn't be... I don't think it's a far stretch for them to have made very simplistic 3D stages like early RPGs did when they introduced 3D. It's not like you fight in the position in the world you're at. There's always a stage set up for a separate stage set for the fight. And it doesn't have to be that detailed because you're paying attention to the fight. You know, it's not the kind of Skies of Arcadia kind of gets away with that by having super shit stages, but it's
I don't know.
They're not that bad.
kind of bad.
Better than Final Fantasy VII.
The sewers are just a square. It's all that bit in the cave where you fight that giant blob boss that you were showing us when you showed it. It's literally just a cube of stone texture.
That's what it was like in the world.
That doesn't mean it's any less shit. It's it's not interesting, but the context is important. So, the fact that it was there and it wasn't just a colour washed background.
And it was also kind of important for that boss because the boss has moved around the edge of the arena thing you're in, rather than being on the arena like usual fights.
Just saying, I'm not saying it wasn't appropriate. I'm just saying it didn't look very good. I don't know. It's but that's still a step up from Pokemon's backdrops.
Think back to Final Fantasy VII and fighting those bosses in the elevators.
That was cool.
That was cool, but it was also completely ridiculous. Whereas, you were on two elevators next to each other as they moved down the building so fast forever, naturally, because you had infinite time. And it's and then but I can't remember, did that, you couldn't attack directly.
No, it was a long range fight because you couldn't reach across the stage.
Apart from, of course, occasionally you get the point, certain moves ignore that, like the special attacks.
Yeah.
Because you had, Red 13 and his
charge attack. Could charge across them, yeah.
And you just teleport through this elevator. It's just kind of ridiculous, but also kind of cool, but,
that was one of the better fights, to be honest.
That was one of the better scenes, I guess, if you're talking about fight environments.
Well, it's memorable, let's put it that way.
But most of them were just or maybe I'm thinking of 9 now, but just the fight scenes in the world in some of the Final Fantasy games were pretty terrible. Where it's just here is a green lumpy texture, and then a blue sky.
Yeah. Yeah, there were bits like that. Well, yeah, Final Fantasy VIII was kind of interesting in its stage design, because it was often just a circle with what the, a sort of cleared out crater, and then with what the world is supposed to be around
when
outside.
you're in the forest, it's trees around the edge, and you're just standing in a weird...
You'd be in a mysterious clearing that just happened to be wherever you were standing.
Then again, that makes sense, because otherwise there'd be trees in your way.
Yeah, but snakes would probably just attack you from the floor, wouldn't they? They wouldn't necessarily be, just snakes hanging out in clearings.
There's no logic to that form of RPG. There never was. I mean, it made more sense when it was all 2D and there was no way they could make it look real. But now that they could, potentially, they're just sticking with the old style, because that's kind of what we know.
And it would be, hard.
Yeah, I'm not saying it wouldn't be hard, but they're in a style, and it's a cool style, in a way. I don't know. But, with Pokemon, it's they did fully polygonal Pokemon battles 10 years ago in Pokemon Stadium. I mean, come on, guys.
I suppose you're right. They weren't exactly...
They weren't great.
They weren't
wasn't
properly
a good
animated, but, they did it. I suppose they only had 150 to deal with at that stage.
Well, no. Well, they did, because the second Pokemon Stadium had the gold and silver ones as well. So I guess that was 250.
Yes, they can do it.
They already did it.
Oh, and also, in another mention to something Rob mentioned about Pokemon before...
Is it akin to fuck you, Game Freak?
I can officially confirm that the old Pokemon will use the shitty old sound effects.
Oh, God.
Because I found a random Pikachu in the house, and then you walk up and, talk to it, and it goes... as they do. They didn't even use the shitty, 4-bit quality Pikachu sound effects from Pokemon Yellow.
Man, but the Nintendo company must own so many good Pikachu clips from all the media they've created.
Every Pokemon probably says their name at least once in the cartoon.
Exactly.
And the Pokemon license must have some fairly large financial clout. Just get the actors in to do some more speak to they've got to decide what is the route they're following. Usually, I kind of like the cartoon route, where they all say their names. It's stupid, yeah, but it's kind of funny.
But that probably
has that never been in any game?
Pikachu? No, it's not.
Well, apart from Yellow.
Apart from Yellow, yeah, with Pikachu. I don't think it's ever been in an actual game. I don't think even Pokemon Stadium did it, did they? They had the...
That's interesting.
They didn't really...
Yeah, they still had the sound effects.
I never really noticed that. That makes sense.
I wonder about maybe Hey You Pikachu or whatever.
Oh, probably.
But there was other Pokemon in that game with Pikachu.
Smash Brothers. It's probably the only
I guess so.
example.
Yeah, Smash Brothers does it, doesn't it?
Because there's quite a few of them that come out in the balls.
Yeah, and they all use. They
Apart
don't
from
just
they don't. Because
Jigglypuff.
some of the ones in Smash Brothers do just go or something.
Or
Maybe that's
they don't
meant
make
to
a-
be their
well,
name,
yeah.
but distorted a lot.
Well, Electrode doesn't make a sound, do they? And Porygon doesn't make a sound, and they just
And the
sort of
flying
go,
ones from like,
Yeah,
Ruby and stuff
Ho-Oh
like that.
doesn't go ho. Well, I suppose they do sort of go ho oh.
Apart from that
across the
thing's
screen.
called like something ridiculous.
Oh, that's not ho.
That's not Ho-Oh.
Okay.
Ho's that giant fucking bird thing from Young Silver.
Ho-Oh's the one that Ash sees in the first episode of Pokemon.
Which was a really bizarre, it's like, that is some future reference.
Yeah.
And then he probably doesn't see it again for, I mean, I can't remember the actual, when it turns up in the cartoon. If it ever does. Do they deal with legendaries in the cartoon?
I'm glad
Deal
we
with
don't
Mewtwo.
know.
In the movie, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So,
I'm
yeah.
ashamed to know that.
Yeah. I have never seen a Pokemon movie.
Yeah, they could.
I hope it involved that fucking Pikachu already.
Yeah.
He never will.
That actually happened quite early in
No, he doesn't
in the
want
series,
to. That's
though,
the
didn't it?
plot point.
Yeah. It happened quite early in the series,
It's
so it's like, he gets a hold of a Thunderstone and it's like, no.
No, it's the Pikachu doesn't want to, isn't it?
Well,
Wants to
sort
stay
of
as
both of
Pikachu.
them, you know, emotionally agree to, like, not evolve or whatever.
To Raichu.
Even though Raichu's clearly awesome.
I agree.
And then he has a bunch of other Pokemon.
Fachu.
Like
Raichu's just basically fat, though, isn't it? It's just like it's a Pikachu that's ate all the pies.
It's gone orange.
And the whole episode leading up to that Thunderstone evolution debate is like his Pikachu fighting a Raichu, and the Pikachu still wins. It's like that just wouldn't happen.
Well, and this is Pikachu is of higher level than the Raichu.
Still, probably it would have a lot more health.
Well,
And they both
presumably,
have the same moves.
did they retcon that into Yellow, where his Pikachu was like more powerful than Raichu if you continue to...
I don't
or could
know.
you evolve it?
Yeah,
No.
that's what I was thinking of. I can't remember.
I reckon
Presumably you
you...
couldn't, because otherwise it wouldn't be able to use that one shitty sound effect they had.
But it followed you behind you all the time, didn't it?
Yeah.
It never went in a Pokeball, just like in the cartoon.
But unlike in the cartoon, it was significantly more dumb. It wasn't mysteriously intelligent as Pokemon seem to be sometimes in the cartoon universe.
Pull me love. Sorry, I just had to get that. I love that. Is it German name for Jigglypuff?
Yes.
Pull me love.
So how has Black... We might as well get on to how you've been playing,
Well,
what you've been playing. Zach, you've been playing Black and White Pokemon.
I played it for several minutes. No, actually,
I played it for several minutes.
I played it for a fair while, but I haven't really got any further. It was just like well, no, actually, I guess I did finish the third gym. Woo! So I'm moving on to the fourth city, but then I basically finished the third gym, went out onto Route 4, conveniently, and then it was like, well, my Pokemon are all at level 20. The enemy Pokemon are starting to get towards level 20. Well, I guess it's grinding time again. You want to be about 2 levels above the wild Pokemon. And because I'm incredibly, like, uncommittal about forming a team or whatever, because it's like, you don't know when you're going to get something awesome, grind every Pokemon you own up to level.
Well, that's
my
your
God.
typical thing, though, isn't
So
it?
that explains why you haven't got very far then.
Well, yeah. But it's also getting...
You've always done that, haven't you?
Well, in Diamond and Pearl. Maybe not
you do
since
that
the
in
older
Red?
ones. No.
I thought you used to train them all equally. even
Well, in Red, no. Well, I may have done...
Well, no, but yeah.
It was
think
like,
you did at
it's
some
like in
point.
Diamond and Pearl, I didn't even do that all the way. I gave up after a point. And then when I was going back to fill up the Pokédex, I was like grinding everything up. Because obviously you don't know when they're going to evolve if you don't know what they are. So it's like you have to grind up everything, basically.
Well, it was Final Fantasy Tactics where you just grinded everything to the same level, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but that had certain advantages. Because you needed like the different jobs or whatever available. So you had to level up all your team to cover all the different jobs, essentially.
Mm.
That was how it worked. But with Pokemon, it's like you always get it's like you form a team. Like if you're going to form a team to like go through the entire game, if you just form it off like the first 6 Pokemon you get, they're always shit. It's like I don't want to use these crappers. I'm sure there's going to be much more cool things later on.
Yeah.
But then I'm wasting all this time training these shitters up. It's like you might as well just go through using only your starter Pokemon until like level 50 and then choose a team.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, it's important to... I seem to remember from Blue that it was important to have, although it's changed now, so you
Well,
have
yeah.
that. But it was important that at the time that I used Butterfree because it had the sleep ability and that helped with the capture of other Pokemon.
Yeah, now you have all kinds of abilities for
Yeah,
that kind of shit.
but now you can do all kinds. Like you were saying about that parrot that...
Yeah, you get a special move, you find that someone gives you
a machine.
Yeah, one of the machines that are now infinitely reusable even if they're not HMs.
Alright.
But you get one where it's like, it will always leave a Pokemon on 1 health. How convenient.
So you use that for the capture.
Although I still haven't found it, I still keep forgetting to actually look through all my Pokemon and find the one that can use it. Because every time I look, none of the ones that are sitting in my team at the moment can use it. And I was like, oh, maybe I should actually think about doing that properly. But yeah. It's just like, I'm not infused enough about it. I think it started even back in Gold and Silver, where it was like we sort of knew in advance what our teams were going to be. I mean, you to a lesser extent, but me as well.
Yeah.
Somehow, I'm not sure how did we know what the cool ones were going to be before we got them? Had we looked it up somewhere or something?
I think I had an official Nintendo magazine.
Oh yeah, I think that was it.
Guide or something. Not guide, but it had...
it just had the Pokédex, basically.
And it had the table of types, like really big, so that was really handy.
So we could essentially just pick our team beforehand and be like, okay, we know when
we're
going to get them. But now, as I was saying...
I definitely knew that you had to search for Pikachu.
Well, yeah.
Because if you didn't know...
Everyone knew that.
Yeah.
That was like the most important thing about Red and Blue.
That's true. Anyway.
But it's like now, as I was saying, the official Pokédex websites or whatever, they haven't updated the black and white one, so I can't look ahead and be like, what awesome Pokemon am I going to make my team out of? I don't know.
Surprised they haven't got to that pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I was thinking it would be, especially considering it's already been out in like Japan and US for quite a while.
I think that's one of those things you should do for the second playthrough. You know, the first playthrough should be about discovering everything yourself.
You never go back and play it through again, because you have to delete your save.
Well, I wouldn't.
And there's a new bloody Pokemon game before you've even finished this one, probably, at the rate they pump them out.
But you have to delete your save. That's always still the old problem with Pokemon. Only one save start.
Even now?
Yep.
That does suck.
Is that deliberate?
Probably. It probably has something to do with the fact that they will unlock the old Pokemon or whatever. I don't know
that's true.
Still don't know how that's going to happen, but...
Well, I suppose that gives you an extra incentive for a second playthrough for this Pokemon game.
Well, assuming that it is a literal second playthrough, it's like I still don't know how that's going to fit in.
I get the feeling they'll just suddenly start appearing in the world.
But... What, in Endgame? When you can just wander around. But that's really boring.
Yeah. Also, there's something I've maybe been noticing slightly about Black and White is there's really no reason to go back to anywhere. So well, I mean, there's obviously like routes that are blocked by a move you don't have, like strength or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not really as dispersed all over the place as it used to be, where you'd be like travelling and seeing routes that you can go down all the time, and you'd be like, oh man, I have to go that there. And it's like, well, this world seems really small and kind of boring. Where's the interesting shit?
Is it like, because it's supposed to be based in America, right?
Yeah.
Probably. But how does that like demonstrate itself in the game? Is it like geographically look anything like California or something?
Well, it's not like the
what is it that's American?
Not like the bits of Japan look like Japan, really.
No, I suppose.
But I guess the Americanness of it is maybe it's like, I guess it's more sort of industrialized.
Ah, okay.
You know, you go to like one of the first towns you come to has like, this is a ruined industrial estate that is being taken over by nature again or whatever, and you're like, okay, like there's barrels and shit, and then that first city you go to, it's like, oh look, skyscrapers! Which I guess is now it's 3D, they can represent skyscrapers a bit better, but that's maybe just a convenience.
Yeah, because in the first game they would actually get in the way because of the perspective,
yeah.
So you couldn't walk behind a skyscraper.
Which was something we tried to fix when we were making a game in Games Factory.
We did.
Where you would go into a silhouette as you went behind the building. Because we were awesome like that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. We made like one house.
Yeah.
That was it.
And, well, I guess...
It worked.
As usual, the thing that took up most of the time was the movement mechanic. As is so often the case when you're trying to make something in Games Factory, because you don't want to use any of the shitty Games Factory default options. You have to program your own movement system.
It was pretty cool. You could go upstairs. And it used the literal Pokemon bloke
Sprites.
sprite with the animation because we couldn't be bothered to make one. How did we even get that?
No idea.
Anyway,
probably just copied it pixel by pixel.
No, I don't think you did that.
Well, I don't see why not.
Anyway, no one cares.
No one cares.
About our old games.
And then what else did I play?
That kind of taken. Well, I suppose that could have taken up your whole week. But...
Yeah.
What else have we playing, man?
I played several minutes of Skies of Arcadia. Actually, it was probably more than an hour. But it doesn't seem like it, of course, when you're doing it. But I think maybe I've played one of the best bits of the game now.
What bit's that?
Where it's just like 3 ship fights in a row with increasingly difficult opponents. It's like, sweet! I get to use my awesome new boat and totally own some crap. Woo!
Have you got the really cool boat now?
Yeah.
With the crew?
Yeah, with the crew. Some of the crew.
Have you got the cook yet?
One of them.
Not the top cook. Not like...
I can't remember what the other one's ability is.
Not the high chef.
Can't remember what the other ability of the cooks are.
Jamie Oliver.
But yeah, so I did it's like 3 ship fights in a row. It's like, fuck yes. Apart from they weren't actually very difficult, of course. But it's like, man, I'm totally destroying you. I don't even need my super weapon. I'm just going to shoot you with my normal cannons and that will finish you off.
Ha.
And then that was when I stopped. It was just like, basically I'd gone for a bit of town, talked to some guys, and it was like, oh look, ship battle, 3 ship battles in a row, and it's like, and now back to the left and save. And I'm done. It's enough of that now. So now I'll be back to exploring the world a bit more. And then I think there's one of those weird sky dungeons where you're flying the ship but through like a passageway or something. I'd forgotten that those existed for a while, but I think I'm coming up to the first one of those.
It's kind of weird.
I can't remember what the point of them were, apart from it being like... Because it's not like you run in... I mean, it's not like you run into enemies any more so than you do when you're just flying around.
Right. Is it like sort of descent? Like an area... Oh, you can't...
It's like a tunnel or whatever.
Yeah.
You can change altitude or whatever as you go through them. But I don't think there's any point in them. It's not like... Maybe there's sky chests or something. Fly your boat up to a mysterious place and just go...
Sky cache.
Or something.
Yeah.
But yeah. I did play very much of that. And then what else have I went back into Team Fortress for a short period.
Oh, yes?
Maybe we can talk about new stuff in Team Fortress.
What's new in TF2? I don't even know.
The Shogun pack.
There's the Shogun pack.
Is that like for Japanese disaster relief?
No, that's also happened.
That's also happened.
Yeah, that was a different one.
But Shogun was for Shogun Total War.
Shogun was for
I
Total
can't help
War.
but think that they just held back some of the items from the Shogun pack.
But how would they have known that there was going to be an earthquake? That's the prediction, wasn't it?
Did the Shogun pack come out before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe they thought these were the designs we didn't want to use.
Yeah,
Probably,
maybe.
almost certainly,
Leftovers.
yes.
Yeah.
Leftover designs from
Still,
the
it's a neat idea, and one of the hats in the relief pack is $100.
Yeah. I thought
That's
that was
quite
pretty
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
So if you see one of those, you'll be like, dude,
You're generous.
just like
That guy
dude.
spent a lot of cash.
Yeah, but it's for charity.
Yeah, but
It's
dude,
$100 even then, in one go.
for a hat.
It's not
Yeah, but
for
it's
a hat.
not
though.
for- yeah.
It's for the charity.
And it's for the bragging that, you're like, look at me, I
Which is
donate.
the exact antithesis of what it's meant to be about. It's like, I'm giving money to charity, but only so I can show off to everyone in this game. Ha, bitches! I'm so generous.
It doesn't matter how they get
How
the money.
generosity
really,
me, bitches.
as long as they get something to help.
See, I'm. This is going political, but
Right. That's
Have
always
they-
a good sign.
have they sorted out the stuff? Because the bit that sort of got me about, oh yeah, we'll launch these Japanese tsunami relief campaigns and stuff. Except for a good while after the tsunami, the Japanese government weren't accepting any aid of any kind. It's just like, sniffer dogs to help people be found out in the burning rubble were being quarantined and left there. And scientists couldn't get in to help with the Fukushima plant and stuff like that. The food was being delivered and being held for weeks until it was unusable. It's the Japanese just haven't been accepting any of this shit that we've been giving them, and I don't know if that situation has changed now. But it just sort of
I hadn't heard anything about that.
No, I hadn't heard anything that severe, but...
But it's
maybe
going to the Red
it wasn't
Cross,
this
yeah.
one. Maybe I was thinking, maybe the weeks thing might have been some other disaster. But anyway, I don't know. It just struck me as a bit strange that we're giving all these charities have propped up, and wait, Japan aren't accepting any of it.
Well,
how generous can I be to something that's not going to reach where I want it to go?
I'm pretty sure
Well,
the International Red Cross has been accepting donations since day one.
Let me deploy our standard podcast racism. That's just what Japan does. They're so xenophobic. Right, let's move on.
Oh dear.
Anyway, it's hard. Yeah.
They've accepted the help of quite a few people, including an entire aircraft carrier from America, I think.
I'm not sure if they really accepted that. I think the Americans just turned up and were like,
What are you going to do about it? We're helping you, bitches.
Right, okay. Anyway.
international waters, they can do what they want.
It's not that, it's just...
Well, to find well, I'm sure the aircraft carrier isn't like on the beach.
Yeah.
Let's have a beach party, guys.
So wait, what were we talking about that brought us on to Japan?
Oh, TF2.
Oh yeah, shit, man.
Get back to your... It's Total War : Shogun, isn't it now? They changed the way round it.
It normally shows... I think they're mainly only showing it as Shogun 2.
Yeah.
Instead
The
of
Total
Shogun
War
2.
label hasn't really been...
But I heard that they were switching it around. But yeah,
Probably.
Shogun 2, that makes sense. So anyway...
So, yeah, they put these items in, but for a change, kind of a nice change, they put in these items that are, designed to be partnership with a game or whatever, but you can actually just craft them as well, which is pretty nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
No longer limited. And I think they unlimited some of the other ones as well, like the Rift stuff you can craft as
Yeah.
well.
That's been craftable for a while.
Yeah, I don't... but we didn't really know about that until with the Shogun Pack, they also updated so you can see all the blueprints. So now you don't have to guess.
Yeah,
or look at the
you
wiki.
don't need the wiki so much
Why
anymore.
did they do it in the first place so you couldn't see?
Fuck only knows.
No, it was a
Probably
bit...
because they hadn't thought to put in a button to say show you the blueprints originally.
What do you think?
It was there quite early on.
It was there quite early on, but I'm not sure if they'd thought ahead to that idea.
Especially weird after they made the wiki official.
Yeah.
There was the other stealth up. There was a stupid one. Of the updates said that the crafting recipes had got cheaper, and after looking at them, I'm like,
Some of them have.
really?
Very rarely.
But they said that it was the way that they worded it. They said most crafting recipes are cheaper, and it's like, no, they're not. It's like one, maybe two of them are cheaper.
Well, the trouble with that is it's like most of them you wouldn't have even known what they were to start with.
I guess not.
But yeah, some of
But
them
the
are a
main
bit
ones,
cheaper.
the main ones that you use all
Well,
the time are still.
the one like the hats and stuff, those were never going to get cheap to craft. I mean, obviously.
So what's good in the Shogun pack that you're looking at?
Well,
Have you got any of them yet?
yeah, I've got a few from drops. I have crafted.
I
them.
got given a few.
Yeah, you got to give them a few. Oh, and the other thing that I didn't realise to do with the idea of having them linked to a game but then also craftable, I think the ones that you get from the game are labelled differently.
Oh yeah.
I think I saw someone using one in game. They're labelled as like genuine something.
Do you get them for buying the game? Shogun?
Yeah, for Shogun.
Right.
Well, I don't know if they still do, though. I think there might have been a
Pre-order
pre-order.
ones,
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the genuine ones are for
Shogun
people who
out
have the
then?
game.
Yeah.
Shit. Maybe we should get... Is there a demo of that? We should try that.
But then
I know someone who's been playing it, and they say it's kind of refreshing because they thought that some of the last few games, like Napoleon and Empire. Possibly they were good in their eyes, but starting to get overcomplicated.
So
Whereas
they
Shogun
did-
strips it right back. It's like the actual complexity of the game isn't far off the original.
Original Shogun.
It's just a far better
Refined.
balanced version of the first game.
does it have AI that's not retarded? That's the important question.
Presumably, I don't know. I never got into Total War, to be honest. It's
The only one I really played was Rome, and that seemed like a nice balance. But
I could never get into that because it was always so difficult right at the start. It was probably okay once you got going.
the trouble with Rome is, like, you tend to start playing as Romans for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And they have terrible cavalry, which makes it really difficult to do tactical stuff, because you end up just shoving all your infantry straight forward a lot of the time.
that was the bit of the game I didn't like.
You can form them up. You can form them up, but I don't know. What more can you do?
Well, my problem
I
was
don't know. The problem I've had with those games, I could never figure out. Maybe it's just me and being shit at strategy games, but I can never actually figure out decent tactics. You know,
Yeah.
I put it was really really hard to. You know, if you're kind of new to the series, I forget which one I actually jumped into. It might have been Rome. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to be doing. I couldn't figure out what units worked best in places, how to move them around the map, and not just the physical control of moving them around the map, but how to effectively spread out the forces.
But it was like learning the rock paper scissors. Only it's a lot more options than rock paper scissors.
Yeah, I don't know. There was just I just didn't get it. I didn't get why it was, better than bog standard RTSs in a way, because they kept the action quick and fun in a normal RTS.
Whereas this was tactics, and you had to plan and lure people out or whatever.
And it could go quite dramatically wrong,
Yeah.
and you're then stuck with the effects of it. And
Yeah.
But the problem I had with it was it seemed to push it. Well, maybe it was just me trying to be too clever, but it seemed like it was pushing you towards doing city attacks and stuff too early, like before you actually had any decent siege weapons or anything, or the cash to build them.
The only thing that sort of, I remember my tactics in the game go, fuck it, I don't get this, just build an entire squad of incendiary pigs.
Oh yeah, I remember those. Tarring those pigs, setting them on fire and sending them in.
That'll fucking work.
That was one of the classic rock, paper, scissors where, like, it only has one counter. It's like, is everything, you only ever need them if there's elephants, which there never is, because you virtually never fight the one civilization that uses elephants.
Yeah.
Who cares? They sound awesome.
Is that right? Is it Carthaginians?
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Like, panic in general was sort of really powerful. If you could panic the enemy troops, it didn't really matter how many of them there were. Because they just...
Slaughter time!
Yeah.
And then you just ran your cavalry all over them.
So if you killed their commander guy...
That was really difficult.
It's quite hard to do, because they're always really well protected.
I did always like the kind of slam effect in those games. I think that was the bit that I liked most about it, when two forces just have that moment when they first hit.
Yeah. Well, that's why the cavalry's cool, because you can keep withdrawing them and then slamming over
they just kind of go, what? And all of a sudden you've got a burst of cavalry right in the middle of them, and it's like, that was cool, but
as I say, Romans have lame cavalry, so you can't really do cavalry charges, because they were like horseback archer cavalry, which are...
And you had to do the pointless rotation thing.
Yeah, get them to corral the enemy.
That was one of the special moves of one of the races, I think, though, where they had... It's one of the desert races where they do the, like, it's called Wheel of something or other, where, like, the cavalry on archer cavalry ride in a circle. So it's like you fire when you're at the peak of the wheel and then you reload as you're going round.
Yeah.
Casually.
I don't know. It just got... Because Rome actually had quite improved the metagame, the turn based on the map, quite a lot from previous versions. And I ended up quite enjoying that as like a sort of sub-civilization style tactical, or not strategic game. And it ended up getting really tempting to just press auto battle, like most of the time, because
the battles did take forever.
They took forever.
That was one of the other problems.
Yeah. And it's hard to judge when it's actually worth doing them yourself, because depending on your numbers, some of them can be a foregone conclusion no matter what you do, really. I mean, like if it's completely unbalanced and they have loads more than you, or vice versa, it's hard to lose or win depending on the
strategy.
Yeah, so you might as well just press the button. So you really only need to do the actual proper battles, which are half or more the point of the game, when it's necessary to sort of, I don't know, when it's fairly evenly matched. I seem to remember.
Yeah.
But who knows what Shogun 2's like. I mean, I saw
they
someone
have
doing
fail
a demo.
ninjas. They brought back all the stupid ninja videos for, like...
assassination and stuff.
The assassinating ninja stories are back, which is great.
That's way cool.
Because they dropped that, didn't they, after the first Shogun?
I think they did. That was quite an important part, wasn't it? Diplomacy and stuff. Well, not on Civilization level again, but it had more espionage stuff than Civilization. Especially considering they took that all out of Civ 5.
Yep.
Have they put any of that back in yet?
There's been several patches. I haven't played Civ 5 since it came out, so I don't know how any of these patches have changed anything.
Well, that's such a big feature that I don't think they'd patch it in.
But it still doesn't sound like they've, patched diplomacy in properly yet. It's still getting patched like every patch they do.
We were arguing about the spelling of Civilization, or not arguing, but the Americans use a Z, and we use an S.
Which I still think looks weird.
Yeah. Well, apparently...
Sorry, you suck.
Apparently, in Oxford, say you look in the Oxford English Dictionary, it will have a Z, but in the Cambridge Dictionary, it will have an S. So it's
Really?
Oxford style to have a Z. Yeah.
Huh. I've just always spelled it with an S.
It's like house style. So if you have a textbook that comes from Oxford University Press, it will also have Zs.
All right. Grammar fight of the week. There's a
grammar fight. We already had one, didn't we? What were we talking about?
This one's already happened at work this week, which is why I bring it up. We got a bit confused of the use of the word centre, because there's the two different spellings of that, the RE and the ER. Because we had this theory that it actually depended more on context.
Really?
So there's the difference between the centre as in the physical location of the centre of something, or centre as in somewhere you convene, like a leisure centre.
I'm pretty sure they're the same word and with different spellings depending on nationality rather than context.
Well, it turns out they are, and yes, it was nationality based, But that's also a grey area. The Americans use both spellings. We use both spellings.
Really?
It's become fucked up.
I didn't know the Americans used RE.
No, that's less likely, but they do. It's just everywhere. They both
Right.
use both, because I've seen bits of code that use center spell RE, and it's like from American sources, and it's like, okay, that's confusing me a bit.
You sure that actually came from American source? They had taken it.
Well, maybe they had a British dev in America. I don't know. That could happen.
They also spell defence differently. So Department of Defence and Ministry of Defence are spelled
S or a
differently.
C.
Yeah, S or a C. You know.
And license.
Oh, is that the same thing? Yeah.
It's like
It's crazy.
it's 3 spellings of license. One with 2 S's, one with an S and a C, and one with 2 S's. Oh, wait, 2 C's. 2 C's. Sorry, yeah. So I've come across 3 spellings of
Right.
license. I'm not entirely sure one of them's right. I think the one with 2 C's
I think
is
2
correct.
S's. That doesn't.
No, the one with 2 S's is definitely existent.
Lisense.
ENSE.
Sense. That doesn't
That
sound
makes
right
more
to
sense
me.
than 2 C's, though.
Do you think?
Listen.
No, when you type it in, it comes up with the ending in S. But look, New Zealand, 2 C's.
Do it with 2 S's though on the computer. I want to see if that exists. Because that's the one that makes me most skeptical. That just looks like that looks
totally
completely wrong.
doesn't it?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that 2 S's.
That one's probably the typo I came across.
Yeah. I think 2 S's is wrong. Yeah. Anyway, there you go, Zach.
There you go, grammar corner. No, wait, look, there's one.
Yeah, but
what
clearly,
It's like,
what's the? Is this
really journalism?
.blogspot.com? Someone's random blog.
license plate web link, license free music. Oh, I'm just reading Google here.
Basically, not many hits for that.
No, but it does.
Compare the number of hits on that for the number of hits on the correct spelling. That'd be quite interesting.
With 2 C's.
435,000 compared to 971 million. Okay.
Yeah, but even so, it exists. It sucks.
It exists when people spell wrong.
Just
Yeah,
as a typo.
I mean, so there's a lot of things.
Stupid fucking language. It's like at times you almost wish, like, well, maybe we should have just had like a single character for a word, like the Chinese.
And that would have got
But
understood.
then I suppose if you got,
ways.
yeah, but if you misspelled that, it probably meant something completely different.
That as well.
If you miswrote it, it's not really a misspelling, I suppose. In that case, it's like a misstroke.
Yes.
You could come up with something completely different. So I'm just going to go down the shop to buy some clouds.
Yes, that is basically how language works. In countries that use that kind of system.
At least as far as you know.
I'm pretty sure it's the case.
Okay.
It was that classic shit about the Bible, wasn't it? Where they were like,
Right.
this could be translated differently if that tiny dot was actually just a bit of dirt.
Yeah, there are spots where that happens.
What, in like Aramaic or whatever?
Yeah.
Is that symbolic, like Chinese? No.
It's probably not symbolic, it's probably like
Papyrus, I
slightly
suppose.
different.
What's the hieroglyphs? That's symbolic, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's from Egypt.
But that's like
close
super
enough.
symbolic.
Yeah.
Games!
Right, games.
My bad.
It's Rob's go. Rob, what have you been playing?
Red Dead Redemption, pretty much exclusively.
And you're not liking Mexico.
Well, I've had a busy week, so I haven't spent much on it this time. But yeah, I got to Mexico. It's boring.
What do you find boring about Mexico?
There's a lot of nothing in Mexico. You get there, and there's like, compared to New Austin, where there's quite a lot about, or there's, the stuff is more evenly spread. In Mexico, there's a big bit in the middle of Mexico where there is nothing.
Do you mean the bit between the town in the centre and where the kind of the big rocks are?
Where the general is, where Coronel Allende is, there's a couple of towns on the left-hand side of the map.
Yeah.
And there's an enormous gap between there and the...
and the middle?
And, yeah, where you meet Larson Ricketts.
Right, okay.
Is it Larson or Landon? Might be Landon.
Yeah, it might be Landon.
Ricketts. I just like the fact he's got Ricketts in his name. But
as also very often the case.
Well, there are some bits down there. Like there's a bit later on where there's a bridge between those areas, and you have to do.
And it's a lot rockier,
dynamite
so it takes longer to get around because you have to take more swervy routes. You
That is
can
true.
do less dynamic. It just takes.
There's a bit. There's like Sidewinder Gulch or something down
Yeah,
there, which
yeah.
is like rocky,
You basically spent a considerable amount more time just travelling, which was okay at first in the first game because it was at the start of the game it felt fine because it's like atmospheric, blah blah. You're getting used to the world, not so much of a problem. To then make it the more of just travelling at the halfway stage of the game, or I don't know. I'm guessing halfway stage of the game, kind of.
So are you kind of travelling between that town and the general's place for missions? And
you do a mission for the general that puts you completely on the right-hand side of Mexico. You go completely to the east-hand side of the map on a couple of missions, and then there's nothing else to do except go all the way back to the west-hand side of the map.
Yeah.
And I could get on a stagecoach and stuff, but...
Or fast travel by...
Fast travel, maybe, but I've not been doing that. Oh, can you do that?
Yep, you can fast travel to campsites.
Wasn't that why what you discovered about campsites where you accidentally made one?
You could pretty much teleport from anywhere to anywhere if you use that. I never used that. I like riding, but you can teleport.
It's getting to the stage where I need to figure out the campsite.
Yeah, work out the campsite. You go into a field, you set up the campsite from your kit menu thing, and then you can fast travel.
You mash buttons to it.
But can I only fast travel to a house or one of my houses?
See, I didn't really use that function. But I think you can travel to stagecoach locations and houses.
I had a couple of moments as well, but because of the size of the area, and I buy pretty much every house I come across as natural because it's useful to have save points everywhere, and I keep forgetting about the campsite being a save point, and so I buy everywhere else. But when you die, obviously you go back to a house, and I've had a number of occasions where I've died right near one of my houses. And it's put me at something like completely across the map because that was the last one I visited, rather than the one I was closest to.
Yeah, you should try
that kind of sucks.
Try out the campsites because I quite like riding all the way through, but I can understand how you would get bored with it.
It's starting to get irritating.
I mean, you've got the fast horse now.
Well, that's the other problem because you want to be riding half the time because you need the fame from the unique events to eventually get the achievement for maxing that out.
That's true.
And you need the herbs in certain areas that you ride through to do your survivalist challenge.
Yeah, but you
get those from sort of riding around, and you can't really afford to do them during missions because the guys you're with will get too far away, or something will time out, or some sort of shit like that.
But have you tried the survivalist maps for the herbs? Have you come across those?
Yeah, I've seen them in shops.
If you buy one of those maps, you know how they only appear on your radar when you go right past them?
Yeah.
Well, if you activate a survivalist map for like 20 minutes, they'll appear anywhere on your minimap, so you can just ride around collecting them.
Yeah, but that seems like a stupid concept. I don't know. It's like I bought a map that lasts for 20 minutes for some reason. I don't know. I refuse to do it because it's retarded.
Yeah, it's really
That's
helpful.
not a good attitude to take to most gaming, I'd say. Refuse to do things because they're retarded.
But if they appeared on your map all the time, it'd be really annoying because all you'd see is herbs when you were riding around.
It wouldn't make much difference on the actual mini map, I don't think. It would be shit to have it on the main map, perhaps.
It's not on the. It's on the mini map, I think, rather than the main map. Even with the map when you activate the map.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind that on the mini map. That'd be all right. But it's a bit silly because you couldn't be able to see them. And the problem I have with herbs is that they blend in too much with the other stuff. You can't visibly see them. So you actually, when you're riding around, you're spending a lot of the time glancing at the mini map and not actually looking at the quite well rendered world in front of you.
I have that exact same problem with GTA. I think I spend
you're in GTA, you're like navigating.
Yeah.
And unless you know it really well, you don't know when.
Well, you've got
it was fine until I discovered that herbs appeared on the minimap, and then it's like now I'm looking at it like every now and then. It's like,
Well, I look at it just for the route to take with the sat nav or whatever. Like you have that in Red Dead as well. You know, 19th century sat nav going on.
Yeah.
But I just find that, you know how they do that with websites, like in Barlow's line of work, where they like have eye tracking.
Yeah. Random name drop of someone no one knows because he hasn't been a guest yet.
Yeah, anyway.
Should be.
They eye track where people look on websites, and I think if you eye track me playing GTA 4 or Red Dead, my eye line would be in the top bottom left hand corner a lot of the time. Because even in combat, it's really handy just to look at the minimap and see where your guys are, the red dots. And I think I do it too much in Halo, like multiplayer. I look too much at the minimap rather than at what's going on.
Well, that's because it's like the motion tracker or whatever.
Yeah, I'm the other way around. I look too much at the world in Halo compared to the map. That's wrong.
You have to get a good balance. But yeah, I agree with you about that. But
they should have done something more ingenious with the herbs, like smell-o-vision or something. Well, not literal smell of it.
That'd be amazing.
That would be literally awesome. But I meant in games, like, showing you which direction the scent is coming from, and then from the wind you can tell, like, the herbs must be over there.
You just turn into the wolf from Twilight Princess.
Well, yeah, essentially that, except less wolf-based.
To be honest, they're not really herbs aren't a huge part of the game.
Well, no.
They are important for those survivalist challenges.
And there's a stranger mission, wasn't there, where you had to collect them?
That's hilarious, that's really creepy,
that's quite funny. Yeah.
It's quite funny.
Instead of the survivalist maps, you should have just had, like, I don't know, nose enhancer. It's just something you turn on, and then you can sort of determine which direction
but you're hitting precisely the reason I don't like that herb map, because it's like most of the stuff in Red Dead is actually pretty close to the, for it being a game, and actually most of it doesn't feel too far from reality.
Yeah, despite being an action
despite being an action adventure game with GTA stylings and all that, it doesn't ever feel too far from reality.
I agree.
When I said
a 20-minute herb map. Right, because the herbs will die in 20 minutes.
It doesn't have like a timer that counts down. Like, you can't actually tell how much time you got left on it.
But even so.
I mean, when I said nose enhancer, or when we're talking about herb maps, I didn't literally mean like an attachment to your nose. I just meant like some kind of toggle where you go into like, I'm paying more attention to smells mode.
Detective mode in Batman. Though.
Yeah.
It could end up as something you just leave on the whole time.
Oh, did you see that?
Well, it has to have some disadvantages.
Did you see that Heston Blumenthal doing airline food, where he was saying that like food tastes bad in planes because of the atmosphere or something?
Yeah.
So he literally gave people a nasal douche to douche out their nose before they ate the food, so they could appreciate it better, or the wine.
Why don't you just make the food smell better? Don't shove shit up your nose.
Well, I suppose it's because it's such a cramped environment. You get the smell from everyone's food and the smell of everyone.
But it's like different pressure or whatever probably affects how easily the smell.
Yeah,
I don't mind airline food. I think a lot of it tastes alright.
It is. That's the thing he's saying is the food itself is actually good. It's just that some people don't like it because of the atmosphere.
It's like
the shitting baby 2 aisles in front of you might be a problem.
There's got to be an easier way to solve that problem than shoving crap up your nose.
But that would be amazing in Red Dead, though, isn't it? Activate nasal douche. Now I can smell the herbs.
Wow, man, I smell a lot of dying horses around here.
Yeah, that's what it felt like in real
Given how many horses die in Red Dead, like randomly, surely that would be the smell of the Wild West.
Like, that's all you need is like an indicator, like a 3D like pointer where it's like it fades in gradually as you get close to the source of the smell. I mean, smell could be used as another sense of direction indicator.
I don't think people
for anything, for burning, for dead things.
If you're a survivalist and if you're Ray Mears, you don't search for herbs by going smelly like a dog. You do it through a knowledge of biology and knowing where they will grow.
Well, that too, but that's not to say that smell isn't entirely useless to survivalists.
I mean, they are herbs after all.
I suppose.
Where are these?
Herbals, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so check out those fast travel options.
That sounds like the most useful thing to me right now.
The only caveat with the fast travel options is if you're doing like there's a thing in Undead Nightmare where you had to get all the towns saved, but then if you left one for long enough, it would disappear. And the warning was don't use the fast travel to get between the towns because it actually takes 12 hours of in-game time, so it's actually slower technically, although it's faster to do for yourself, but it's slower in game time. It
was just like the classic thing, like in Zelda, where you had that challenge where you had to take the spring water from somewhere to somewhere else within a time limit, and you're just like, I'm going to cheat, just teleport. Oh wait,
it doesn't work. Yeah. Was that the one to get the big Goron sword?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Because you had to go to that like weird witch in that shop in the back of that place in Kakariko Village and get that potion.
Yeah, they did that in Twilight Princess
as well. Naturally,
what, the same thing?
Yeah,
it's hot spring water. Take it from the hot springs to some guy who needs a drink
before
and demands
it has to stay hot.
Yeah, demands.
So I'm really desperate for a drink. I'm practically dying here. You couldn't make that a bit warmer, could you?
Yeah, but so you're annoyed by the travel time, but the missions, how are they going?
That's still alright. I've had a few actual janky missions where things haven't, in the same way that I did before.
Right.
The biggest glitch I already mentioned to you the other day was when, during a firefight, one of the enemies ran right up to my bit of cover and was on precisely the other side. So when I popped up to shoot him, my gun sort of went through him and the bullet appeared behind him, meaning I couldn't shoot him at point blank range, but he had no trouble capping me in the head.
Oh, that's a shorter gun.
That's just unfortunate.
Well, the weapon switching in Red Dead is irritating at the best of times.
It's a lot better than GTA, let me tell you.
True, it is still a step up,
Yeah.
but it's, you don't really want to weapon switch if you can help it in Red Dead because it's just irritating. I'm starting to get used to it, but I still don't like it.
What, with the wheel?
Yeah, I don't like wheels.
Yeah.
That's why the 2-weapon system in most games works.
Yeah. Well, I find myself using the rifle most of the time in Red Dead. Although, there are pistols that are like automatic later on or whatever, but I always used a revolver because you can't be a cowboy that doesn't have a revolver.
I can't help but think the controls in Red Dead were poorly thought out. I mean,
Really?
Why didn't they use the D-pad for weapon selection? Because what do you use the D-pad for? You change the map zoom and you whistle for your horse.
Well, in GTA you do use the D-pad for weapon selection, and it's terrible.
Really?
I'm not
What's wrong with that? Because there's only 8 slots, except for when you want to swap between ones of the same type. So if you could have the forethought and prepare your types before you.
Oh, do you mean up, down, left, right?
Well, not necessarily up, down, left, right. You could still use the diagonals. That would probably be all right.
Right, but I just mean in GTA 4 or whatever, it's just left and right to cycle through.
Oh yeah, no, I meant directional because
Right.
the wheel is directional. And
Okay,
there's only 8 points on the wheel.
That could work.
So you could assign them to the D-pad, and that would be fine. And then have your horse whistle on the left bumper, and not worry with the map zoom because the map zoom's practically useless.
Yeah, that could work.
That would have been much, much better.
Maybe. Yeah, I quite like the wheel, but I can see where you're coming from on that. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the wheel could pop up while you're using the D-pad, and then you can quickly move to.
Well, in Gears it sort of does, doesn't it?
Yeah, in Gears you only have Vanquish does it the same.
That's 4.
Has the 4 points as well.
Yeah,
it's the same as Gears, but in Vanquish it's on screen all the time.
Yeah.
Speaking of quick switching between weapons, that was one of the funny things about that Team Fortress 2 update with the Shogun weapons. Well, you have a sword for like the Doman, and it also works for the soldier. Of course, it's never going to replace the equalizer or whatever. But it's like once you pull it out, you can't put it away. It's on a bound. Yeah. You must kill someone.
That's so cool.
That's kind of funny.
But then that's like, can't have that as a quick switch. Otherwise I'd be screwing myself up all the time.
Yeah. Accidentally.
Because I just quick switch randomly even when I'm not doing anything. It's like, randomly switch guns.
You do that a lot. It's kind of random to see.
Well, you have that classic
I do it in the Huntsman.
Explain that to our audience.
I think I may have already mentioned it when we were talking about Team Fortress at the time.
Before. We talked about it during macro time.
Oh, did we?
But, because I do that with the Huntsman to basically undraw the bow, I just quick... I mean, it's like, it's a preparedness thing, I guess. But I mean, normally you'd imagine that like once you've done it once and you know what's in your slot, you don't have to keep checking. It's like...
Is the undraw faster?
Probably, but I don't know. I think we may have mentioned that as well, but it's like, because you're undrawing, you can redraw midway through the undraw.
Oh, can you? I didn't know that.
I think you can. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think you can. Because I made a whole script to do that, but also to change the controls. Because I wanted it...
Like the minigun.
Yeah, I wanted it like the minigun. So the way mine works is if you hold down the right mouse button, it draws, and then when you click the left button, it releases. But if you release the right button when you're drawn, it'll undraw. You see, that's the way that makes logical sense to me. I don't like clicking the right trigger to fire. It just doesn't. Is that how you do it?
No. Release left.
Oh, release. I don't like releasing. That's right. I like clicking to shoot. I don't like unclicking to shoot. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it does make sense with the bow, I suppose, but it just naturally...
I don't know, I don't think it feels bad. I just think it was an interesting decision out of consistency, more than anything else. It's not because I think that the bow implementation is particularly bad. It's just... It's just different.
It's just personal, taste, I suppose.
Yeah. It's like, I think it would have been better if they... I think I agree with you in the sense it would have been better if they did kept to the minigun system, because it's it's being consistent. It's what the game does. It's not like you're losing anything by using that control scheme.
But it would have been so much harder to use. And also with...
Really? You think it'd be harder?
Well, yeah.
The way I do it?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I hate using both fingers at the same time.
You can only multitask with one finger.
I just think I have a better reaction.
The right mouse button is always more difficult to click. It's harder to control, naturally, because it's on a less...
People play heavy, then?
Because you just use the left mouse button.
You
pre-spin with the right mouse button.
If you're, like, using the huntsman, could you just hold right down, when you get into a situation and you're actually going to be shooting, just hold the right button down, and, like, left to fire, and then you just hold the right, keep the right hand down.
And redraws. That's how my one works,
If you're holding right button down and you've got it pulled all the way up, you can only hold it there for 5 seconds before you become inaccurate. So you have to release the right mouse button in order to not fire that arrow, which is really awkward.
I think that'd be fine.
It's not like the heavy's minigun where you're releasing the button to stop preparing to fire.
And basically, I think they should make that like there should be an official option, if I'm honest with it, because
I mean, it's basically they could have easily done it, so yes, it should have been an option.
I suppose, but then they'd have to make a special option just for one part of one class.
Well, it's not like they don't already have that in the advanced menu for like auto medic call if the target's
and keep
lock the medibeam, resume the sniper rifle.
Okay, well, Valve, put that in so I don't have to have a script for it. That'd be it. Thank you.
Yeah, make it official. I agree with that because I'd like to try it, but without scripts because I hate scripts.
Fair enough.
And also because scripting is probably naturally slightly more dodgy.
And I'll be honest with you, I think I'm a Monday Night Combat preferer. But I like Monday Combat more. Advocate, that's a good word.
There you go.
It's a word.
Is that no good, Naomi? she's shaking her head at my choice of vocabulary.
Her mouth is full of biscuit. She can't talk.
Okay, never mind.
I'm helping your image even more. I do apologise.
Right,
Monday Night Combat.
I prefer Monday Night Combat now. It's I don't know.
Totally.
Yeah, I think on the whole I actually prefer it. I don't know. Team Fortress is just... When I play Team Fortress, the majority of the times I play it now are frustrating experiences.
But you haven't played Monday Night Combat nearly as much.
No, but it's still... But that's why.
But you have had bad times on Monday Night.
Yeah, true. I have had them, but they seem less frequent.
Yeah, but you have played as much.
You
like it more at the moment.
At the moment, that's it's the way it is. I don't know if TF is starting to age with me, or maybe I think part of it might be that we've played TF so much now that
and there's so much crap in it.
Help. Yeah, maybe. I think I'm less worried about that. It's just that maybe we've played TF so much we can see everything.
What, we know the bugs.
We know the game so well that we spot everything that happens, and if it's like if a mechanic doesn't feel right, or if a mechanic you can't explain what happens, even with all our epic experience, it's just like, no, that's crap. You're just sitting there going, that shouldn't have happened. There's no way that could have happened. There's no way your rocket in a standard shot could have killed me, Mr. Heavy, in a single shot with no assists, you fucker. It's just like, when that happens, it's just like, there's no way!
I'm sure that is still... There's an obvious explanation for that, but it still doesn't make it any less annoying. Whereas
single rocket from one person against a Heavy on full health.
Well, it would be like a sniper shot hit you at the exact moment the rocket does.
But then that would have come up as an assist, surely.
Not necessarily, because you know how shitty the assists come out in Team Fortress sometimes. Where it's like you do tons of damage to someone and then you don't even get an assist when someone else picks them off. It's like, what the fuck?
Well, I suppose it depends on time done, but if it was like in that instant, then...
Or if they're medics healing them, or... There's ways, I'd say. I still think as damage is really... Well, it's not as easy
how
as
that
it should
happens
be.
To me, like in situations when I'm in a corridor and there's no potential sniper window.
Yeah, I get...
And it does still happen in that scenario.
But it's
or the classic annoying ones where you're a direct hit soldier against a normal soldier and your rockets hit blow for blow and the direct hit is supposed to do significantly more damage and you lose.
The direct hit does not do significantly more damage. That's always my problem with it. It's like 50 damage if you directly hit someone. What?
Yeah, it's a bit of a jip. But you should still have won that fight. By the numbers, that fight should have been yours if you're trading blow for blow direct hits.
Well, blow for direct hits, yeah, probably.
Which has happened again. There's been a couple of fights when I've been shooting them head on and they've just been hitting me with splash, and I've lost, and it's like, that doesn't make sense. I was the more skillful shot in that fight. and I've lost for no reason, or
where you both got direct hits, you mean?
Doesn't often? I'm using it as an example. I've been the direct hitter, and someone's been
a normal
regular rocket launcher,
and they've been killing you with splash before you can kill them
before
with
I can kill them with direct hits, and that doesn't add up. Where's the math in that?
It doesn't
I
feel
can see
right,
how
but I
that
still
might
don't think
happen.
the direct hit damage does enough damage.
But
It drops off so too quickly. That's my problem with it.
Well, ignoring the.
Do you reckon
ignoring the damage boost, direct hits with the normal? If it was normal launcher, direct hits with the normal launcher versus splash with the normal launcher should do more damage.
It should do.
And if I was using the direct hit in that scenario, hitting them dead on versus splash, that should have been even more case for me to win.
It should have been.
It doesn't add up. I don't get it. That's what frustrates me. Is I can't explain the situation, and maybe there were ways it could happen, but the game doesn't give you that.
Yeah, it doesn't have feedback on damage. It's hard to even tell when you're getting hit sometimes, as is evidenced by people who don't turn around when someone is backing them or something.
I still think it's bugged with heavies. I don't know, maybe for me it just doesn't make sense. But when I play heavy, stuff at distance gets barely touched. I'll see the damage. I play with the damage markers on, and it'll go 5, 5, 10, 5, 5, 10, and I'll come across the same, a heavy from miles away, no medic attached, and it'll just go, and I'm dead. And it's like, well, okay, that means I'm playing a soldier. He must have done 100 damage per hit in that instant that I stepped out of the door. What? it's crap.
So what you were saying that the brass beast is really powerful. What does that do?
It's 20% more damage, but considerably slower movement speed while sped up.
Yeah,
that's almost a straight upgrade, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is basically.
Kind of. I don't like not having the movement.
20% more damage,
but you don't move. You really don't. You're stationary. You're
like a gun turret.
You're even more of a sniper, or you can't because it takes a while for the gun to spin down. Your escape possibilities.
Well, it's one of
really,
those
really small.
You have to be a lot more of doing the jumping around corners thing.
Yeah.
And you need a pocket medic, do you, I suppose?
Well, yeah, if you have one, you become super powerful.
Yeah, you're massively effective when you have a medic. But the problem is that your Ubers become less effective in a way.
Because you can't.
Yeah,
because the crits will destroy everything, even more so than usual.
But you still have to move into, you'll unleash it and people can just move out of the way, and then you're stuck there with your zero movement, wasting more Uber time. It's like you need a medic, but you don't want Ubers from it, so you want your medic to use the Ubers on other classes when it has them. But
is there a way to move faster with other items when you're not have it quick? So you can run into an area fast and then deploy.
You could, in theory, have the gloves of
which
running
people do
urgently.
Quite a lot as well.
Quick switch to the brass beast while jumping through the air. Spin it up while you're doing that, and if you're good enough, you'll land
and get crits, and then murder everyone.
You'll see heavies do that quite often to when they're doing that combo with the brass beast and the gloves. They Uber quite early, and it seems like they're wasting a lot of it by running in, but they're actually just sort of increasing the area that they can cover rather than jumping around the corner and only being able to shoot that much.
That makes sense. While they're invulnerable doing that time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Call me crazy, but I think maybe it's the server we play on, because it feels like that's been glitching out more.
You do play on a server.
It did have a problem recently.
Yeah.
That server particularly.
You guys do play on a server where everyone's really
I
good.
still think we should... Yeah, I'm starting... Especially since... Well, in my case, I'm distinctly less good at it.
Right.
So I've been maybe I should just play on PC Gamer Server for a while instead.
I don't think that helps as the problem. I've played on PC Gamer Server quite a lot recently. Well, more frequently than... I say quite a lot. When, more often... I've played the TF about the same amount as I normally do, but more of that time has been on the PC Gamer Server compared to the Hampshire Heavies. And, I don't know, I've been hitting the same problems.
You don't think they're any less shit? I think they are.
No, I think they are, but I think the jank...
Oh, the jank is no less.
It feels the same when things go wrong. It's just I don't know. I find... it's frustrating. And it doesn't feel like... Whether it's my fault or not, it doesn't feel like it. And I'm sure some of it is crap. I'm sure a lot of... some of it is just network issues, whatever. Something's not worked properly. But... even if it is on those odd occasions where it is my fault, and I can tell, for instance, the insta-death scenario, which could happen, as you explained, it doesn't...
There's no feedback to
it.
it.
No, it doesn't... it's hard to think, well, what did I do wrong there? And it's well, you didn't do anything wrong. But the problem is that once that happens once, it doesn't just happen that one time. You end up with an entire session. Your entire evening will suddenly become filled with things happening like that. Like moments where you just turn a corner and there's a crit rocket in your face. Or then you turn the corner again and there's a sniper that hadn't been there before that's just headshot you once. And so you'll end up with an entire game of you just getting to the fight and dying immediately while everyone else there is going, yeah, we're fine. And that's just luck, I admit. But
That's bad
that
luck.
for some reason that just happens. You end up with an entire night of that happening, and that's why I'm going off TF, because that so far hasn't happened to me Monday night.
Change class more.
I do. I play more classes than you do.
That's true.
That's true.
You do seem to get to grind out a few extra lives after you've started getting killed a lot. Whereas if you're heavy and you're like, oh, I died. Well, let's try it again.
Well, I
Few
do,
more
yeah,
times.
it's like I do it a couple of times, thinking, that could have just been the one time that happened.
Yeah.
And then you switch to something else. But half the problem with TF is that the class balance is kind of important on the team. So
Yeah.
if I was to go, oh right,
Everyone plays it.
I'm having a shit time as medic. Oh, I know. I'll just switch to spy now. It's like that's a really bad move in most cases. Or if I'm the only heavy on the team, then it's kind of nice. You don't need a heavy, admittedly. But then, what am I going to switch to? Oh, we've already got 3 soldiers. That's my other good class. It's like, I don't want to do
that doesn't
that.
help you at all, I guess.
Oh, I could be a demo man.
Could be
Oh
side
no,
lane,
I don't want to do that because I'm crap at it.
I reckon that for our 2nd year anniversary podcast, this time next year, we'll be sitting here discussing the jank in Battlefield 3 and saying how it's unfair how that tank always hits you or whatever.
Battlefield has always kind of been a bit janky by design.
I don't think you're going to get...
It was not in the same way as Team Fortress.
No, Battlefield had the classic problems that I experienced with Call of Duty in some ways. The hits not registering problem.
Well, yeah.
That's Battlefield, even up to 2142, that it was pretty bad for that, where you could be lined right up on someone, and because it had that feedback on hit effect around your cursor, you'd be lined up, you'd be crouching or prone or whatever, and it's like, how are my bullets not hitting this person? It's like, it suffered from that pretty badly, and occasionally it was game-breakingly bad, but...
I have to say, it does look like, I take Zach's point that in the footage that we've got of Battlefield 3, which looks amazing, it does look like you're not going to be able to see anything you're hitting because of the amount of dust that's going to be thrown up in front of you.
Yeah, and if that's the case, that's an immediate turn-off for me, because that's Call of Duty's biggest issue.
Yeah.
Well, I say biggest issue, it's one of its major issues, is the inability to see stuff in the single-player campaign because of dust.
Yeah.
It looks great, but it's impossible to play.
It looks even better in Battlefield 3.
And the AI can shoot through it with perfect accuracy.
Well, we'll see about that, but yeah, I take that point.
Not going to help you any in multiplayer either, though.
No.
Well, no, if it's fairly done in multiplayer, then that's alright as well.
Well, but
People will just have graphics hacks.
Equally
won't they?
bad on both sides does not make it good.
That's true.
Well, speaking of graphics hack, what was I? Oh yeah, it was someone in Worm was complaining about, oh no, it's foggy, I can't see it, and someone was like, oh, you just go into the graphics files and delete the fog.
Oh, that's great.
That's some graphic hack there.
What people used to go play Counter-Strike in the low detail mode, didn't they? So
Yeah, because the smoke effect was less good. So you could see through it a bit easier in places.
Yeah. Also because the smoke effect in Counter-Strike was notoriously unstable.
Yeah.
Make you crash half the time.
Yeah, that happened.
Is that in
Counter-
1.6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, man, Counter-Strike, I have absolutely no inclination to play that game ever again.
No.
They updated it quite,
CS Source.
Yeah.
several times.
I'm sure people still play it.
I was tempted, but then I was like, oh man, I have to download it.
It won't take that long, will it?
Yeah, I know, but it's still effort, connection time. I could be doing something else.
Pretty reasonably large, and they do still add maps to it, don't they, officially?
Well, I don't know.
I think I've seen some official editions.
Maybe. Although they probably aren't official, they're probably community map official.
Yeah,
In the standard way.
It's not like Valve team.
Speaking of community maps, god damn it, when's the Monday Night Combat community map scene going to arrive?
It needs new maps, doesn't it?
They updated the lighting in the last patch, apparently. Not that I ever had a problem with the lighting in any of those maps they made.
Well, they're not really very light heavy, are they? They're quite ambient.
There's no light sources as such, really.
No.
But apparently it's better now.
Are they not like floodlights, like a sporting...
No,
Well,
you'd think they would be, but that would probably make it quite hard to see.
that's true.
Yeah, it's just generally pretty ambient, isn't it? The whole thing's lit fairly evenly.
Yeah.
Which is alright. For gameplay, that works fine.
I guess if you think about it, it's actually lit directly from above.
Yeah.
Because then you can tell where the overhangs are, because the shadows come directly down. So it's like, if you're about to get airstriked, you can walk underneath something.
Yeah. Which is
Oh,
quite
that's
useful.
handy. I think it's a bit funny how the airstrikes don't have any, like, source. It's just something falls from the sky randomly.
Yeah. They just sort of go boom all of a sudden.
There's no aeroplane flying over.
Apparently, I think there was a fix for the airstrikes as well. Supposedly something to do with. It said like airstrikes would trigger instantly if you threw the beacon off the map. Not quite sure why that needed fixing. But
No.
Trigger what? Where would they bomb?
I don't know if it meant if you threw the beacon off the map or if you were off the map throwing the beacon on.
Oh, right.
Or whatever. If you were being chucked away.
If you were
You could be crazy cool and like throw them at people falling to their doom, maybe.
What, and catch them out of midair?
Yeah, it's like,
but then it wouldn't hit before they died, probably.
No, probably not.
Maybe that's why they fixed it to
they
be
went
instant.
instantly. Yeah.
I think they were fixing it not to be instant, though.
Oh.
Rather than fixing it to be instant. Although maybe that is one of the problems of Monday Night Combat's kill system, is the number of times you can steal people's kills when people are falling off the map. You hit them with one bullet while they're falling and you take the whole kill. It's like, maybe there should be some kind of
out of map zone or something surrounding
or like
it, so
slightly more intelligent assist method. Like if someone dies from falling off the map, the last person to hit them with a charge probably should get the kill.
Yeah.
Regardless of what else happened in between.
In some cases, yeah.
Speaking of which, that's the other thing in the most recent Monday Night Combat patch, since we're talking about that.
What's that?
They've done various fixes to charges to make them feel more like they actually hit people sometimes.
It'd be more useful if they didn't hit you when they ran past you.
That too is supposedly meant to be slightly fixed. Like, you don't get hit if you're behind them when they launch and stuff like that.
That's happened to me. Although again, we haven't talked about that ridiculous thing that happened in TF. Do you remember when I was Pyro and you were on the enemy team as a sniper? I came up behind him.
Oh yeah, that was really bizarre.
I came up behind Zach with a degreaser.
Right.
It was a cap on the last point on, what was it, Gully Wash?
Yeah.
And basically you can get underneath them and then come up behind the point directly. So I thought,
cool.
I'll come up there, I'll set them alight a bit, and then push them off the point so I'll get the last bit of cap. All on my own. It didn't work too well on my part, admittedly, they kind of saw me coming. But I managed to get Zach with a reflected arrow, which didn't work because I was behind him at the time. So when I was pushing him off the point, I see it must have been like I was pushing you into your own arrow as you fired it, and it got counted as a headshot kill against him. And it's like,
it was totally
sweet.
Like, how the
Awesome.
fuck did that happen?
That's amazing.
It doesn't make sense, but it was hilarious. See, that would be one of those moments that would happen to me, and I'd get right pissed off at it.
Probably.
It's like, what just happened?
Although that one was more of a legitimate, totally weird thing rather than just something not working correctly. I mean, it didn't work correctly, but it didn't work correctly in such an extreme way it was totally obvious that it wasn't working correctly.
No, you just had to sit there for a moment and go, what just happened?
Awesome. And then what else was in this Monday Night Combat patch quickly? I was thinking there was some more balancing. Changed the mascot colours back to green and yellow, so no longer Valentine's Day mascot.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Although the green and yellow colour scheme does make him look considerably more skanky, if you know what I mean.
Well, I think that was sort of the idea.
He looks a bit grimy and a bit like a bit like an American. The American couch potato cliche. That's what
Well,
he looks
that's
like.
basically what he is, though.
He looks like he's got spaghetti stains.
He's got like the beer gut.
Yeah.
Does stupid dancers rubbing the beer gut. It's really weird. I can't remember any of the other important features of that patch. Just the charges and
just add more content, dudes. Do a TF on our asses.
Yes, Jesus, more maps.
Seriously, Monday Night Combat is one of the biggest contenders to potentially sort of do the TF update routine.
Oh, that was another thing. More taunts. If you're wearing the alternate costumes, you can get different taunts.
Great, you can spend that time making a map.
Also, I think you get less cash if you taunt. So
right. So you can't stand like
no longer taunt grinding.
What that fucker did on that one match where he's just there's an engineer standing in the rear base. What does he say? Who's a me or something?
Yes.
Can't really say. But he was just standing there swinging because he swings his shotgun around under his crotch or whatever.
Which looks really cool as a taunt.
Yeah, but then he just goes, "Who's a me?" And this guy was just doing it for like the first half. No, it was worse.
Pretty much the whole match.
Pretty much the whole game until right at the end where he suddenly spent all his cash and he's just spending it, just standing there going, "Who's a me?" It was me! Because it says the same thing every time, and it's just like, that's really, really annoying.
So what did he spend it on then?
No, it wasn't all that too. What did
Presumably fully skilled and then upgraded all
he
of
didn't
us.
even make that much cash, because that's why I was wondering when I saw him doing it. I was like, I wonder how much cash he's going to end up with at the end of the round.
Not that much.
Not as much as if he played the game.
No, it's obvious that taunting isn't actually as effective as just being good.
I still haven't done the taunt while juiced to see if that gives you a lot of cash.
No, I haven't tried that.
I really should sometime, but it seems like such a waste. You pretty much only get to kill one guy and then taunt.
Yeah.
And I should really try, when I'm playing engineers more, I should really try to go back to doing the taunt hack. Not juice hack. Because that sounds like fun.
Oh, yeah, you juice up and then hack a turret.
I did manage to hack a level 3 turret one time, and that wasn't even while I was juiced. And it was like, this is totally awesome.
No, that was just because you were slightly round a corner.
Yeah. You couldn't see me. That's just, it's one of the most underused engineer tactics, I guess. But
because does it allow you to hack the nub turrets, or just the... sorry, I was just pointing at Cat to get away from your beverage, or whoever's beverage that is.
Not mine. But what?
Where are we going? Oh, yeah. Hack turrets. Yeah, can you hack the nub turrets as well as like fire bases? Or
yeah, you can hack all of them. I'd hack like a level 3 rocket turret in there.
Yeah, cool.
It was like, sweet. Hack a level 3 shave ice. I don't know why. It'd probably be funny.
Yeah, just everyone in their own base will go, why are we moving so slowly?
But yeah, I mean, that seems to be a well underused tactic, but you really can't do it. I don't think you can really do it unless you are juiced, because you have to stand totally still. Anyone will just, like, if there's a sniper on the enemy team, you're dead, basically. Sometimes if you're hacking turrets in your own base, you have to be aware of where their sniper is, because then just headshot you.
Although sniping in Monday Night is pretty damn hard, if you ask me. There are some levels that are kind of suited to it, but everything moves quite fast in Monday Night, so...
But it's not, I mean, it's not like TF where it's a charge up. It always does the same damage for when you hit. It's just a matter of you have to spew a lot more bullets.
Just spam it and stay consistent. It's,
change your endorsements for, like, fire rate and clip size or something.
Yeah, I need to change my sniper, because it's sort of I can't remember what my loadout is, but it sort of works. I think I've got, like, skills because I use traps all the damn time.
Yeah.
And, I need to play with it a bit more. The endorsement system is great, though. Although it is possible to create some horrendous overpoweredness still, like my gunner loadout.
I don't think that's necessarily overpowered.
And my gunner loadout kicks ass.
Yeah, but you were complaining about how shit it was when you didn't have it set up like that.
True. I don't like the heavy classes in Monday Night Combat on their standard settings. I don't get the tank still.
No.
I don't understand him. I've been. Don't get me wrong. I've been killed mercilessly by tanks in some games. Some people can play great as them, but I don't get it.
No.
It's like I don't get how you use them properly. But this is weird having a short range character that's dog slow.
I do wonder if maybe if you do put like gold fire rate on a tank,
it pretty much
the flamethrower must do more damage because it just unloads the clip faster.
Yeah.
So even though it doesn't visually appear any different,
it must be dealing quite bad death.
Maybe that's how you get totally owned by tanks sometimes.
Yeah, maybe.
Might have to try that out.
Yeah, I need to unlock some more class slots, to be honest. I'm still missing a couple.
I've got all of them now. Shit ton of cash.
Take some effort to get there. But yeah, it's a cool system. It does mean it does force you to experiment. It's just that sometimes I wish the time between games was longer.
So you could, or
give you some tweak time.
Yeah.
But, it's both nice that they're really quick. The turnarounds and the loading times are really quick and things like that. So it's nice. But at the same time, sometimes you want to actually be able to go to the locker room and tweak up before
and look
a game.
at your achievements and stuff.
Yeah, well, maybe not that level. Just to, I'd be happy just to go into the class and go right and have enough time to mix it around before the team selection.
To be honest, you should just be able to do that in the game on the scoreboard or whatever. Really.
I think,
but then you that's the sort of a balance thing anyway to make you commit to your endorsements before the game.
Did I give you my free pass?
I've still got mine
because my guest pass has disappeared. I must have given it to someone.
Unless it ran out.
I don't think you gave it to me.
Did it run out? Oh.
They might have expired on 20-something for March.
You might need to get you into it because it's good fun.
Yeah, I need to get my PC back. Play TF2 again for a start.
Get achievements.
Actually, TF2 is always better when all three of us are playing. Actually, I enjoy it more.
You don't know
with
that yet.
Well,
But they not come out like turn out to be even better still.
Yeah, true.
But you mean better?
But then again,
compared to
3 out of 6
normal.
on the team is maybe like that's starting to be like us basically making us a whole team.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Although that could be cool. But I'm not even going to be able to play Portal 2 at this rate when it comes out.
Oh shit, that's quite soon.
No, you guys will have to do the co-op
Do they
stuff.
still have have you pre-ordered, Zeg?
No, but the deal is still
Is
on.
the 2-pack still on? Okay, yeah, we'll do that then.
Oh, there was that new trailer preview. Well, not preview. New pointless, funny trailer thing came out. I don't know when it came out, but I
It's
had
the
noticed
Valentine's Day
it.
one. Is there another
After that one, there's been another one
Oh yeah,
with Cave Johnson.
Cave Johnson.
He actually
Who's
has a voice
Cave
now.
Johnson.
Oh, he's the guy that
He's the
runs
CEO
Savage
or something
Science,
of Epic
isn't he?
Design.
Oh, okay.
It's
And
like-
he's going to be in Portal 2 as quite a main feature. We don't know very much about him or whatever. To be honest, he's probably around.
Almost certainly.
He's going to just be like GLaDOS apart from
GLaDOS
a
2.
dude.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
if
so
he was,
I did not like GLaDOS. I fancied a name.
But he's much more.
I called
He
myself
sounds much
Cave
more like
Johnson.
a human. He's like Cave Johnson here, and then he talked. It's like a preview video about the wall panel things and how they all shift around and stuff.
Oh, cool.
But it also uses the robots as like the comedic, where they're like running through a corridor and the panels are like whoa and like crushing the wall against the wall and stuff.
Cool.
And then like at the end, the 2 robot guys like running up a staircase of panels that's casually deploying in front of them. And just as one of them gets through the door, and just the other one's about to go through, the stairs disappear and then he falls down. And then Giant Crusher comes from the ceiling and splats him. And then Cave Johnson's like, "That's not a panel, that's a crusher. We sell them too."
Sweet. So he's like a crazy salesman type guy.
Yeah.
Presumably, I would say he probably was a human when Episode
Well, yeah.
Science started, like,
Logically.
before Portal. But now it's like, how many years later? Like 100?
Some long
Yeah.
period of time.
So-
Is it
yeah.
not really that long.
And it's all super overgrown. So, like, I
Well,
reckon he
that's the
probably
idea.
turned himself biomechanical so he could live.
But he
forever.
probably did that before Portal 1 even.
Probably, yeah.
In theory.
Yeah.
But for all we know.
Who knows?
We'll find out soon enough.
But does
Well, not
this,
soon enough.
if it's set so far after Portal,
Maybe
1,
they'd have come up with some slightly better Portal technology, if you know what I mean.
I'm just wondering how it relates to the Half-Life universe if it's set so far after.
Maybe the
Half-Life
first one
time.
is set in Half-Life 1 times, and the time... Oh no, that doesn't make sense, because it's not 100 years difference between the 2 games, is it? No.
But the first one,
1
is
and
in...
2.
yeah.
No,
The first
more
one
like
is
10
2
years or something. Or how long between the event and the 7-hour war and all that?
But no, not very many years. Really.
Yeah, maybe 5 years or so.
Some number.
Anyway,
But yeah, I don't think it... Maybe it'll just be time travel. Maybe portals will
Yeah.
malfunction somehow and portal you through time and space.
I wouldn't be surprised actually. Yeah, because how the hell does like Chell get 100 years in the?
When they put her in one of those pod things, like you
Stasis
start wake up in the start of Portal 1.
Oh yeah,
You don't even know how long she'd been there before that.
That's
or
true.
whatever.
Oh, so it's still you?
it's still
Still
Chell.
Chell,
Yeah,
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
single player, not in the obviously robots in co-op.
9 minutes, by the way.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
come
you-
I
round.
noticed the bar getting shorter.
Yeah.
We found some stuff to talk about, despite the fact that I
Of
haven't
course we
played
did.
any games.
What are you talking about? We always do. Regardless of everyone every week saying we haven't played it.
Yeah, well, I genuinely haven't, but hopefully next time I will have done. I've got Assassin's Creed Brotherhood to play, so relatively new game with new coverage. Although you already had a guest come on and cover that.
We've been,
Ooh.
brief coverage, yeah.
Brief.
We should probably talk about, briefly, for more things that we have played that we can talk about, we should probably briefly mention Crystal Chronicles again.
Oh yes, we're revisiting the original Crystal Chronicles on GameCube for the lows. It's
For
just
the free Game Boys attached to the GameCube power.
yeah, it didn't work on the Wii, by the way. So anyone with a Wii who's thinking of trying the Crystal Chronicles experiment,
Experiment.
it's like an experience experiment. Experience. If anyone's thinking of trying that, you actually need a GameCube. You can't do it on the Wii.
Really?
The Wii doesn't support the cables.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
well.
I don't know. Presumably, it's an emulation thing.
Yeah, I suppose it's fine. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just kind of annoying. That's all.
Yeah. But yeah, I was having some troubles with my disc, and
Which we've seriously managed to eventually realise how we could solve by just opening the lid and closing.
yeah, there are some game disc read errors on my copy of the game, which seem unrelated to the disc because you could just open the tray and close it again, and then it will work.
Or at least it did that one time.
Yeah, that was the error that let us do it. But Yeah, it's interesting. We'll talk about that more when we've played it a bit more, I think. Because I think we can challenge it more. Cause
I think we can, but I'm not sure we'll talk about it more.
Yeah.
And the only game I have actually played was last night. We played Rock Band 3 with 4 people, and it's pretty slick, and
somehow slicker than 2.
Slicker than 2, which is an achievement in itself.
Character
Amazing.
switching is still a bit of an issue, though. Moving profiles around. It seems to work fine when there's only one person signed in, and you want to switch them to the other. But we've had issues in the past when I've played it with my brother and stuff who signs in and things, and we actually want to swap profiles between signed-in people, then it seems to still not work very well. I mean, that's always the biggest problem with the Rock Band and Guitar Hero games in general, is drop in, drop out, but not just drop in, drop out in general, just drop in, drop out as you. As your profile. That still seems, even now, it's still an issue.
It just doesn't seem like it should be such of a problem.
No.
You're changing between 2 virtual instruments. Why is that so difficult for the game to work out?
I think they're dealing with the OS implementation of profiles.
That's always been bad. I mean, really.
I mean, the way it does it on Rock Band is reassign the controllers. So when you switch your profile about on...
It changes the lights on
you stay signed in, but the drum kit suddenly becomes on player 1 rather than... So it actually reassigns the controllers, but leaves you signed in on the same location.
That's clever.
So it's obvious that they've tried to work around some of the Xbox's profile flaws.
Limitations.
Yeah.
I hope when there's a new Xbox or whatever, that's one thing they attend to.
What they should have done... which is a really bad idea, but I can say it anyway.
Hindsight.
What everyone should have done to solve this problem is just nick the Dreamcast and hand VMUs. Put your profile on a little card that plugs into every controller.
You're absolutely right. I still swear that memory sticks are a great idea for the actual profile information and like
saves.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily saves.
Not necessarily.
Those are getting big nowadays.
You could still put some saves on them, but like information. If more consoles become internet connected, for instance, perhaps the profile information gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And if the Xbox has the problem of moving save files around, is a hell of an issue because moving some saves is completely blocked. So you could accidentally put them on a device and then can't move it to your memory stick. The whole memory management system on 360 is pretty crap. And there is no memory management system on PlayStation, really. So
they've just started bringing in cloud support or something now. I hear.
What, PlayStation?
Yeah. They're actually starting to unlock the save moving capabilities.
Anyway,
it's something they need to improve because I still believe that memory sticks are a good way of.
They should just make it like every controller for a specific console should just have like a credit card slot and make it like like those arcade games that used to have like credit cards that install your profile on them.
Well, they still shouldn't have the stupid Xbox Live accounts locked to a box.
No,
because that's really, really...
Especially if you've already put them on a memory
card.
Or
unless they're on a memory stick. That's really irritating, isn't it? Because even though I have Dan's profile on my Xbox, we can't sign in as it because he's had to attach it to his Xbox
but
again.
That probably has some,
I know they're probably worried about people juggling accounts and saying, "Can I use your account right now?"
Yeah.
And I can see why they'd probably have a concern, but it's still really annoying.
I agree. It's bloody nightmare in Castle Crashers as well.
We've only got like 3 minutes left.
Well, in Castle Crashers, it was more probably it worked.
It was just shit.
We've only got 3 minutes left. And I kind of wanted to break this out as a midpoint if we ran out of things. But I just wanted to say, I've had this hanging around in my house for a while, but I just thought that's an incredible pun. I've got for Christmas, I got a bottle and a glass of Gamer's Pear Cider. And it's just like, that's awesome. I didn't get the pun for frickin' ages when I got this. And it's like...
It's for a gamer.
It's not really a pun.
Right, no, it's
just a name that conveniently is a reference to something.
Because it spells gamers as like gamers with a Y. I totally didn't see it.
And that also just sounds suspiciously like a slur.
Camp drink cider.
Slur.
Yeah.
Gamer.
What? I like that. Oh dear.
So maybe I'll break this out. I mean, this was going to be
for our 1 year anniversary.
Yeah. Here we go. Celebrate, guys.
I want to say about Rock Band
with a single glass of pear cider, which is mine, bitches.
yeah, tasty. I just want to say about Rock Band 3, I was quite impressed by we didn't have any hard discs, so we only had the songs on the disc, and I thought the selection was fine. It's not bad.
It's all right. I mean, for an evening, it did all right.
Yeah, it was all right for an evening. So.
I think I still think if you've stuck with the Rock Band series, there's nothing like having the song selection from all three games in one place.
That's amazing.
I mean, that is fantastic.
But I'm just saying, you'd think they'd have run out of good songs, and they've had some good songs on there. So I'm pleased.
Well, they revisited some of the Guitar Hero ones that Harmonix haven't been allowed to use until now.
No, that's cool. Yeah.
So, no one knows is back, which is awesome. Even if the drums are fucking impossible.
It's got a really weird beat to it, doesn't it?
Well, it's like because the chorus for that has a kick drum that goes dum 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 dum.
Oh yeah, of course.
Ow! Fucking ow! I can't move my ankle that fast.
So yes, season 2 of the Saladcast.
Yeah,
the test begins now.
I still have to make the new intro. I think maybe before we post this one up.
What are you going to be able to creatively come up with a whole new... That's going to take a little bit of effort, isn't it?
It didn't take that much effort to come up with the Tilecast, or even the original.
No, I knocked those up in less than an hour.
Yeah.
Alright, well, you can do that this evening if you've not got anything to do.
Dubstep, here it comes.
Not for the whole season. I don't think we can have a joke for like that whole year of Saladcast.
I think we can.
Okay. So 2011/12, the year of dubstep.
Wrap it up.
Right, so thank you for joining us once again on our year anniversary Couchcast, yes.
What are we going to call this? Is this going to be the Lounge of Inexplicable Peril?
We're going to run out of names real fast if we start doing that. I think you better name it creatively after the games that we talk about, like you usually do. That's always hilarious.
All right, I'll give up on that. I'll put that in the post description rather than the title.
Okay.
I'll see how long I can keep it up.
Well, we'll be back in a week and a half.
Say bye.
So, goodbye to everybody.
Bye.
Bye from us.
Everyone lean close to the microphone, make it loud.
Bye!
I didn't